It's time for September baseball as the D-backs roll through the National League West. Pulls into Colorado. It's the fight for postseason. D-backs coming off sweeps of both the Giants and the Dodgers, and now they get a crack at the team right behind them in the wild card standings. Oh, it's on now. The D-backs and the Rockies on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Coors Field, and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume and Bob Brenly along the way. It's the fight for postseason, and the D-backs arrive here in Denver with a 7-game winning streak and holding a 3.5-game lead over these Rockies for the National League wild card lead. Bob, this is a big series, and this is a place where some of the Diamondbacks' big boys can really do some damage.
You know, every visiting player that comes into Coors Field that swings a bat really looks forward to this ballpark, but nobody more so than the two guys in the middle of the D-backs lineup. Paul Goldschmidt this season here at Coors, a .458 hitter with 4 homers, 12 driven in. He scored 8 runs in those 6 games.
And fittingly, that's our Coors Light Cold Hard Facts here at Coors Field. Wait, there's more. Who knew that J.D. Martinez had cleaned up here like he has in his career?
Yeah, 7 games in his career here at Coors Field. He's 14 for 30. That's a .467 batting average. He's also got a home run here at Coors. That opposite field power really plays in this ballpark.
And the offense has been rolling for the Diamondbacks. We'll see if they can put up some big numbers here against the Rockies. A big 3-game series starts next on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Earn rewards 10 times faster than ever before with the Card by Gila River Casinos. Sign up for the Card today. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Chase, master what's now and what's next. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. On Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. By the all-new Amstel X-Lite. Grab the 90 cal 2-car beer with great taste today. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run. At Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. By Phoenix Raceway. See Dale Jr.'s final West Coast race at the Can-Am 500 November 12th. Tickets at phoenixraceway.com. And by State Farm. Here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM. Oh, it's a lovely evening here in Denver. How does a 4.5 game wild card lead sound? A chance to get that tonight. D-backs and Rockies next. Scalzo hits a high drive, deep right field, way back, it's in the pool! The former Rocky walks it off! This
ball line to right field, pretty deep. Peralta is going to have to play it off the wall. LeMahieu's right behind Blackman. He's coming to the plate. He's going to score. Nolan does it again! A triple! They're back again!
Walking off, and this dramatic 2017 season continues. Two teams separated by only 3.5 games for the right to host the National League Wild Card game. It's a very pleasant evening here in lower downtown Denver, Colorado. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you. The first of three, the D-backs and the Rockies, with the Diamondbacks coming off sweeps of both the Giants and the Dodgers. They've won 7 straight and 9 of their last 10. Here's the D-backs lineup presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
David Peralta once again leading it off out in left field tonight. Chris Iannetta in that 2 spot doing the catching. A.J. Pollock will be out in center field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. J.D. Martinez in right field. Brandon Drury at second base, Jake Lamb at third. Adam Rosales playing shortstop tonight, and right-hander Taijuan Walker on the mound for the D-backs.
Your Ram truck starter for the Rockies, Kyle Freeland, 24-year-old rookie left-hander. And this is a big start for him. He's a Denver native, grew up a Rockies fan as a kid, so he knows what meaningful baseball in September means to everyone here because it's been a while. David Peralta leads it off. We're underway from Coors Field in Denver with strike one.
A lot of fastballs from Kyle Freeland. He'll throw a 4-seamer, he'll sink it, he'll cut it, throws an occasional slide or occasional changeup, but likes to just work off of that fastball on both sides of the plate.
Peralta hits that one foul, and quickly it's 0-2. David had the day off yesterday in the win over the Dodgers. 3 hits in that LA series. Could not ask for better Denver weather than what we've got here tonight. It's always an adventure, but it is just lovely here. It's a big sports weekend, a big sports night in Colorado, just down the street at the Broncos football stadium. Colorado and Colorado State are playing their annual college football game tonight. So the crowd here is a little more thin, I think, than we anticipated.
Yeah, very much so, but we didn't know about the football game, and that's a big deal apparently. Well, also, the Taste of Colorado is going on over in downtown Denver. Lots of food, bands playing, all kinds of stuff going on here in town this weekend. Not to mention the biggest baseball games of the season.
Absolutely. Certainly for these two teams. As it comes down to the wire, we start September baseball with these two right now battling for the right to host that wild card game. 1-2 on Peralta. 7 straight wins matches the Diamondbacks season high. Last time the D-backs won 8 straight games, August of 2011. Chris Iannetta, the former Rocky, on deck. We should point out, by the way, in case you're wondering, you see all the yellow wristbands and ribbons that the players, umpires, coaches all wearing. It is Childhood Cancer Awareness Day all over Major League Baseball in recognition of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, so everybody is wearing gold ribbon decals and wristbands. Looks at the 2-2, lays off, and Peralta's worked at full 3 balls and 2 strikes. Came inside with a fastball, and Peralta's aboard to start us off.
Good grinding at bat to begin the ball game by David Peralta, setting it up for the guys behind him here in the order right away in the first inning.
Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at the Rockies defense.
Ian Desmond in left, Charlie Blackmon in center, Carlos Gonzalez over in right field. It'll be Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story on the left side of the infield with DJ LeMahieu and Mark Reynolds on the right side. Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate for left-hander Kyle Freeland.
Another start in the 2-hole against a left-hander for Chris Iannetta, who has really done a good job batting second for Torey Lovullo. 2 seamers in there for a strike.
It does raise some eyebrows among our fellow broadcasters when we try to explain why Chris Iannetta, the catcher, is hitting in the 2 spot, but you can't argue with the numbers. He's been very productive hitting out of that 2 spot.
Yeah, the numbers certainly speak for themselves, and he's got such good plate discipline up there. He gives you a quality at bat, the kind you'd look for from a second place hitter. But Chris, in 9 starts this year, batting second, is hitting .343 with 7 extra base hits and 9 runs batted in. So you can't ask for much more than that. They'll keep an eye on Peralta. David, 8 stolen bases. He's only been caught 1 time. Rookie left-hander Kyle Freeland. He went winless in August, had a rough time of it, in fact, at his previous start. That was last Saturday at Atlanta. Gave up 4 runs, 10 hits in 6 innings. But he has been one of the more consistent Rockies rookies this year. It's a rotation full of youngsters, and Freeland has done a pretty good job.
First among major league rookies in wins with his 11, second in innings pitched, .381 ERA, first among rookies with at least 100 innings pitched.
A ball and a strike on Chris Iannetta. Peralta holds it first. Check swing foul. Boy, that happens to Chris Iannetta a lot.
That check swing trying to get out of the way, keep the bat out of the hitting zone, and somehow the pitch always manages to find the bat and go into foul territory.
It's amazing, and then he walks away with that frustrated look like, oh, really? So it's 1-2. Not much wind to speak of at all here right now. A gentle breeze at best blowing out to left field. And not a cloud in the sky overhead. That kicks away from Lucroy, and Peralta gets a free 90 feet. Slider got away from Freeland that time. A wild pitch.
That's one of those pitches. We've seen Chris Iannetta deal with a few of those lately. They look like they're going to go into the dirt, but they make it all the way to the catcher just above dirt level. He went down to make an attempted block, and the ball got there in the air. He wasn't quite ready for it yet, and it got away far enough for David to advance.
D-backs have seen Kyle Freeland only once. A.J. Pollock will be next. Freeland started a game at Chase Field in late April. He pitched pretty well, got the win, gave up just 1 run in 6 innings. Chris lays off a slider on 2-2, and he's worked it full.
Yeah, coming off one of his worst outings of the year, however, against the Atlanta Braves, had a no decision, pitched 6 innings, gave up a career high 10 hits and 4 runs in that ball game.
Coming off a winless month of August. So he's gone full 3-2 in the first 2 batters for the Diamondbacks. Very light sky this time of the evening right now. That's fouled off behind the Rockies dugout. You get a high pop-up, it's going to be a little tricky right now.
Yeah, until the lights can fully take over. It's this dusky time of day is not fun for outfielders or infielders on pop-ups, especially in this ballpark, because as we know, when the ball goes up in the air, it tends to stay up there a long time.
Well, we're at a mile-high elevation. So we'll do it again on 3-2 to Iannetta with Peralta at second base, nobody out. All 4. He has walked the first 2 he's faced. Time now, BB, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, it seems appropriate since Kyle Freeland has walked 2 and thrown a wild pitch already. You have to bring your Coors Field game here to Denver.
Now, what is that exactly?
Don't walk opposing batters. Don't make errors on defense. Don't give the other team more than 3 outs in an inning. Score runs, and when you think you've got enough, score a few more. And as a pitcher, you have to understand that you're probably going to get dinged in this ballpark. You're going to give up some runs. Don't let it affect you. Don't let it bother your entire game. Limit the damage and move on.
That's what they've been telling all their pitchers in Colorado. They're looking for guys who can bounce back when they get knocked down on the canvas from time to time in this ballpark. So 2 on, no outs for AJ. That is going to roll through into left field. Tony Perez-Chico waving Peralta home. Here's the throw from Desmond, and the Diamondbacks have a quick 1-0 lead. RBI single for AJ Pollock.
2 long grinding at bats to work the base on balls, and AJ Pollock comes up and attacks the first pitch he sees, finds that hole on the left side. Just a hard ground ball. Not easy to get him by Arenado and Story, but that one rolls through into left field for an RBI base hit.
And now the big boys are coming up. As we mentioned in the open, Paul Goldschmidt and J.D. Martinez have cleaned up in their careers here in this ballpark. So that brings the pitching coach out there, Steve Foster, to have a word with his rookie lefty.
Good time for that shock and awe offense once again in the first inning. Diamondbacks have done a great job recently of ambushing that opposing pitcher before he can even settle in out there on the game mound.
Goldie with 33 home runs, 3rd in the National League with those 109 RBIs, and an OPS that is 3rd best in all of baseball. 2 on, no outs, a run already in. Swing and a miss. Slider from Freeland.
Diamondbacks have scored 10 first-inning runs in their last 3 games.
They've gotten off to big starts, certainly against the Dodgers, to complete that sweep, and they needed all those runs near the end of 2 of those games. And like as you said, the same thing probably applies in this ballpark all weekend long. You can't score too many runs. Fastball is in. It's 1-1 on Goldie. Goldie begins this series here only 4 base hits shy of 1,000 for his career. So if you're looking for a milestone offensively, this is not a bad place to try and get it. Try to change up. He'll throw that change up very occasionally, Kyle Freeland. It's the pitch that the Rockies insist all their guys throw, whether almost they like it or not. He mixes up his fastballs pretty evenly, the straight 4-seamer and the sinking 2-seamer, and he'll average 92, 93 with those pitches. And he throws a lot of cutters, so between the 3 pitches, he's throwing about 90% fastballs up there. And then the rest of the time, it's the slider and the changeup. Trying the fastball on 2-1, and now he's really working himself into a mess here. 2 walks and a single. He falls behind on Goldie, 3-1, with J.D. Martinez on deck.
Now this has to be one of the most daunting situations a pitcher can face. A 3-1 count on Paul Goldschmidt, because you know if it's a bad pitch, he's going to take it for ball 4, and you're going to load him up for J.D. Martinez. But if you throw it over the plate, he might hit it to Boulder.
He hits this one to right center. It backs up Blackmon near the track, and he runs it down. Iannetta was halfway to third base, so he's going to have to stay put there. It looked like to Chris maybe that would carry over Blackmon's head, so he's not able to tag up. He was already halfway to third.
Now, Charlie Blackmon can occasionally misjudge a ball out there in center field, especially in this ballpark. It looked like Chris Iannetta thought it was going to slice farther away from Charlie and he'd be able to score from second base, but Blackmon makes the adjustment, makes the catch, and Iannetta has to stay put at second.
That's the first out, and here is J.D. Martinez, 275, 29 home runs. This is a really intriguing matchup for me, Bob, because as we've seen, J.D. is a really good low ball hitter. Freeland is a guy who throws a lot of fastballs down. He's generally around the plate. And he's a lefty, and J.D. is just crushing left-hand pitching this year. So this is big-time advantage Diamondbacks. Freeland versus Martinez. Trying to slide her away. It's 1-0. And you can see J.D. Martinez just ahead of Nolan Arenado for the highest OPS against left-handers this year. OPS, of course, on base percentage plus slugging percentage. There's a little tapper that stays fair. Arenado at third. And they just did get him in first. Paul Emil, the crew chief, is down there. We'll go to the bottom of the first. D-backs lead it 1-0. So it's a 1-0 lead for your Ram Truck starting pitcher, Taijuan Walker. 7-7 and a 3.55 ERA. Taijuan coming off a well-deserved win in his previous start Saturday against the Giants.
Yeah, it had been a while since Taijuan had won a ball game. He'd certainly pitched well enough to win some games, but either bad defense or bad offense didn't give him much support. Looking for big things here tonight against the Rockies. That win against the Giants, he was outstanding. Gave up only 1 run in 6 1/3, 4 base hits in that game.
Valley Chevy Dealers gives us a look at the Rockies lineup.
Charlie Blackmon leading it off out in center field. DJ LeMahieu will be at second base. Nolan Arenado over at third. Mark Reynolds playing first base. Ian Desmond in left field. Carlos Gonzalez in right. Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. Trevor Story at short. And left-hander Kyle Freeland on the mound.
Blackmon always an immediate threat. He's got 6 leadoff home runs this year. First pitch fastball is strike one. What a year for Charlie Blackmon, the National League's leading hitter. He's batting .339 and already with a career high 32 home runs. He homered here Wednesday, and the Rockies lost to Detroit. Colorado off yesterday. And Blackmon hit .383 in August. That was tops in the National League. A hard foul to first. Look out down there, Tony Diaz, and it's 1-2.
You know, we talk a lot about potential MVP candidates in the National League, and Charlie Blackmon's name rarely comes up, but he would have to be in the conversation as well.
I might have him in the top 2 or 3.
Absolutely.
At worst, with his numbers. He has had a remarkable season offensively. Chases a high fastball. Good aggressive start for Taijuan Walker. A strikeout starts him off. Here's the Diamondbacks defense, and that's presented by Nationwide Vision Center.
The A-team out there in the outfield. David Peralta in left, A.J. Pollock in center, J.D. Martinez in right. It'll be Jake Lamb and Adam Rosales on the left side of the infield. Brandon Drury and Paul Goldschmidt over on the right side. Chris Iannetta behind the plate for right-hander Taijuan Walker.
And Bob, how about this alignment by the outfield for the Diamondbacks? There is no left fielder right now. None. DJ LeMahieu, who goes the other way more than any other hitter in baseball, is looking at the biggest outfield shift I think we've seen in years. They are way over there.
Yeah, this could be one of those shifts. I mean, as you said, LeMahieu hits more balls to right field than any other player in baseball, but if you stand in the batter's box and look at this defensive alignment, it might throw you off your game. I'm going to look for something to try to pull to left field, and that is not DJ LeMahieu's game.
This is a dramatic overshift by the Diamondbacks. You've got Peralta, the left fielder, standing almost in dead center, and then A.J. Pollock in right center field, and Martinez near the line of the right field corner, and sure enough, he shoots it down the line. DJ LeMahieu finds a way always to go the other way, and he's got a double. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, that outfield alignment reminded me when we were kids and didn't have enough players and you had to call your field.
Yep.
DJ LeMahieu, if he were going to call his field, it would definitely be right. He puts that one right down the first base stripe. I think this argument, that ball got hung up in the stool down there where the ball dude sits down the right field line.
Well, you've got Brian O'Nora, the plate umpire. Paul Emmel, the crew chief, is the first base ump. Let's see.
It goes right down the first base line. Tough to tell, but looked like it went right over the bag, and then it gets hung up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, LeMahieu's probably going to end up at second base anyway, but Torrey just wanted some clarification on the rule.
So LeMahieu now with a 9-game hitting streak, his 24th double. Here's Nolan Arenado. He leads all of baseball with 111 runs batted in. Good hard four-seamer from Taijuan. Arenado 305. He's got 30 homers. He has a chance to finish as the Major League's RBI leader for the 3rd consecutive season. And he is dangerous in these situations.
Well, when the two guys in front of you in the lineup are hitting .339 and .316, you're going to end up with a lot of RBIs. Nolan Arenado has cashed in a lot of his opportunities this year.
He's hitting .398 with runners in scoring position this year. And now O'Nora wants to check in. Oh, he needs some new baseballs. Coors Field, we've already run out of baseballs. It's not usually till later in the game.
It's kind of a rule. You have to have a ball.
Fundamentals. A good breaking pitch that Taijuan threw right there to jump ahead 0-2. Fastball up, a ball and 2 strikes. Arenado, despite all the RBIs and all that, he's only 4 for his last 26 up there. And he was saying this week he's just not hitting the ball very well as of late. And when he does, it's right at somebody. So he's in one of those kind of modes where he's just got buzzard luck from time to time. Pops it up, and that's going to drift into the seats.
Well, it happens to the best of them in this game. You know, you go through hot streaks, you cool off for a couple of weeks at a time. You just hope that one of your teammates gets hot while you're in a cold streak.
So this may be a good time, if there ever is such a thing, to catch Nolan Arenado. 4 for his last 26. 1-2. Late on that fastball and fouls it off. We see almost no one these days with a closed stance, and you wouldn't certainly describe Arenado as hitting in a closed stance, but he's kind of creeping toward that line. A little more than most guys. That front foot gets out at an angle. About even.
He starts out pretty square, but he does dive a little bit, and that causes him to close up that stance, creeping forward with that left foot as the ball's being delivered.
See that front foot, a couple of jab steps with it very late toward the plate, so that by the time he's looking at the baseball, it almost really is a closed batting stance. Former Diamondback Mark Reynolds having a big year. He's on deck. He's got 28 home runs. Watch that front foot creep toward the plate as Walker delivers. Starting to go. There it is. Good block by Chris Iannetta back there. Taijuan tried the splitter. It's full 3-2. How do you pitch to this guy?
Carefully. I mean, the highest compliment for me you can play an opposing hitter is just say you can't pitch him one way. You can't stay with one pattern with Nolan Arenado. He'll make you pay. You try to pound him inside with fastballs, he'll pull it right down the left field line.
Taijuan Walker came up with a big slow curveball, and Arenado strikes out.
I think you throw him a big slow curveball.
Good call. He threw a couple of good ones to Arenado in that at bat. So Walker trying to strand that one out double. 2 down now for Reynolds. He's had a really nice year. 274, 28 home runs. He's knocked in almost 90. 28 homers doubles his home run total from last year. LeMahieu at second, 2 outs. Went to the slider and missed. It's 1-0.
Now Reynolds starts with an open stance, and his creeping left foot gets him back to square, whereas Arenado starts square and goes to closed.
And see how wide open he is there. Fastball's a strike, 1-1. Reynolds, 28 homers. Had 14 last year when he arrived in Colorado from St. Louis. And the 28 home runs, the most he's hit in a season since 2011, which was his first year in Baltimore. Almost going back to the time he was a Diamondback. Bounced a curveball, and it's 2-1. We flash back. Taijuan Walker, Mark Reynolds.
Center cut fastball. And another one.
He's been a dangerous hitter, doing a lot of damage. 4 for 8 career against Taijuan with those 2 home runs. 2 balls and 1 strike. Fastball missed. He's behind 3-1. He and Desmond on deck. 20 pitch first for Taijuan. The hope with him, as always, is that he can be as efficient as possible and save some of those bullets for the middle innings. Get into that 6th inning. Into the slider again. It's in the dirt. He walks Reynolds. 2 on and 2 out now for Desmond. Desmond, 285, 5 home runs, only 32 RBIs this year. He's been something of a disappointment mostly because of injuries, consistent nagging injury problems from spring training on have kept him to fewer than 70 games for Bud Black this year. LeMahieu is the runner at second, Reynolds at first, 2 outs. Now Desmond is the guy who strikes out a lot, hits a lot of balls on the ground, and swings and misses a lot. So you'll take either one of those 2 outcomes right here.
Yeah, normally you'd say that's not a bad walk to Mark Reynolds, a dangerous hitter that's had success against Taijuan Walker in the past. But as we mentioned in our key to the game, you just don't want to give up any freebies in this ballpark.
That slider missed. It's 1-0. It always seems you walk a couple of guys, they score. You commit a couple of errors defensively, it leads to the big inning. The margin for error in this place is so thin, along with the air. 2-0. Desmond was out most of August with a right calf strain, which has actually been a problem for him for much of the year. Missed about 30 games, just came off the DL on Monday. Taijuan behind, 2 balls and no strikes.
Very passive take that time by Ian Desmond with a couple men on base, a 2-0 fastball right down the middle of the plate, and he looked like he wasn't ready to hit.
It seems to be that kind of a year for him here, his first season in Colorado after getting that big free agent contract, 5 years, $70 million. But the production just hasn't been there yet. Not much of it has been his fault. Like we said, he's just been injured from the get-go. And that broken hand in spring training, then 2 more trips to the DL with that right calf problem. That one missed somewhere. 3-1. Taijuan has gone to 3 ball counts now on 3 straight hitters. He's at 25 pitches for the first. And slumping Carlos Gonzalez on deck. Well, he got his fastball, couldn't square it up, and it's full 3-2. Two on, 2 out, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Now we got to check in about the signs. Rosales in from shortstop, Iannetta from behind the plate. What do you want to throw here? Everybody's got to be on the same page. Let's pick a pitch. And good luck with that slow curveball against Arenado. Threw 2 good ones to him, struck him out on a 3-2 curve. And let's see if that's what they want to dial up here for Desmond. 3-2, here it is. There go the runners. Ball 4, he missed with a fastball. And the bases are loaded for Cargo. Mike Butcher. This is not the first inning they were hoping for, certainly at least in terms of the pitch count, but the potential is there for a big Rocky first after the Diamondbacks got an RBI single from A.J. Pollock in the top half of the inning. Rockies are scuffling. This is a situation where they have not been getting the big hit, and we've talked about that for 5-6 weeks it seems for the Diamondbacks before the last homestand. The Rockies are playing like that now. They went 12-15 in August, their worst month of the year. They have not been able to get the big hit in precisely this spot.
Well, that may be the case recently, but over the course of the entire season, the Rockies have been money with the bases loaded, hitting .330 as the team with the bases loaded on the season. And as you said, it's been a little bit of a struggle recently, but much like the Diamondbacks offense, they know it's in there.
Starts him off with that curveball. Cargo this week dealing with nagging soreness in his left foot and his left ankle. He's just 3 for his last 21 up there. Having a very disappointing season. One that may be his last as a Rocky. His contract is up at the end of the year. Fastball's a strike, 1-1. Just 8 home runs for Cargo. That is a dramatic decline in production. Keeping in mind this is a guy who in the previous 2 years had hit 65 home runs and 197 runs batted in. Big drop off this year. There's that curveball, and it's 1-2. .30 pitches in the inning for Taijuan Walker. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Got him. Went back to that curveball. Taijuan Walker walks that high wire, but he leaves him loaded. It stays 1-0 D-backs. It's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Fans, the D-backs are in a fight for postseason, and don't miss a huge series back home against these Rockies starting September 11th. That's a Monday through the 14th. You can get tickets for that series for as low as $2, and it's only a 3-day weekend sale at these prices during this Rockies series at Coors Field. For the next Rockies series at Chase Field as Brandon Drury leads off the second. This is a tremendous deal for this 3-day weekend only. You can buy a ticket for that 4-game series against Colorado, $2 in the outfield reserve, a $5 bleacher seat, and how about this? $10 for a lower level baseline reserve as Brandon Drury delivers a leadoff single. So that's only fans for this 3-day weekend series now. Coming up for the next Rockies series at home, we can get you a lower level baseline reserve ticket for $10.
Can't beat it. What was the password there? The promo code was FIGHT.
Promo code is FIGHT. The sale started this morning and it ends Sunday evening. So get on there. Really, really good. Leadoff single for Drury. Here's Jake Lamb. Jake, 256, 27 homers. He's knocked in 96 runs. Lamb up there against the lefty Freeland. Jake had 148 against left-handers this year. Does have 5 homers. Swing and a miss. Change up there from Freeland. 1-2. Lays off the slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We talked about Goldie and J.D. Martinez in the open of the show. A.J. Pollock is starting to swing it much better. David Peralta has really been reborn in that #1 spot in the lineup. It would be nice to see Jake Lamb get it going a little bit here in the second half too. He's had some great at-bats. He takes his walks. He's hit some homers, but just hasn't made the consistent contact we saw in the first half of the season.
Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Freeland. Adam Rosales, the start at shortstop tonight. Adam, 235. He's got 6 homers, and he's had a very lively bat as of late. Rosales, 7 hits in his last 10 games, 2 doubles and 2 home runs. He's going to mix up those 4-seamers, those 2-seamers, and those cut fastballs. And like we said, it'll always be about 92, 93 or so. He's got pretty good command of the strike zone, Kyle Freeland, even though he's walked the first 2 he faced in the ball game. Most of the time he's around the strike zone.
It's our first look at Jonathan Lucroy as a Rocky, isn't it? When we played him earlier, it was Tony Walters doing a lot of the catching.
And they had Ryan Hannigan, the veteran, back there as well. But they acquired Lucroy at the trade deadline from the Texas Rangers. 2-2.
Yeah, Lucroy has always been a solid defender back there behind the plate. Really good at those borderline pitches, making him look a little bit better. And we talked about his small target with nobody on base. He gets as small as any catcher in baseball back there. Gives his sign, sets up, and almost disappears in front of the umpire back there.
Bad change up there from Freeland. It's full 3-2. It's almost like he's trying to hide behind his catcher's mitt.
That's what catchers do in spring training during batting practice. Live batting practice, you try to get as small as possible and hide everything behind the mask and the chest protector and the glove.
4 3-ball counts now for Freeland. He's already walked 2. Adam Rosales being a pain in the neck here. It's got to be a big game for Friedland. We mentioned that at the top of the show. He grew up in Denver, went to high school right here in Denver. Thomas Jefferson High School. Big Rockies fan as a kid. And now here he is. Coors Field, big wild card series. Rosales sends one out to right center field. And that one will get to the wall. Drury had to hold up to make sure. He'll stop at third. Adam Rosales is at it again. A one-out double.
Well, that one did have enough slice to get away from Charlie Blackmon out there in center field. You may remember he ran down Goldie's ball in the first inning in a similar location, but this one slicing away from Blackmon back toward Carlos Gonzalez. Neither one could get there in time. Diamondbacks have runners at second and third for the pitcher Taijuan Walker.
Reynolds at first base is going to set up in on the grass. Arenado even with a bag at third. Middle infielders are back. So let's see what Taijuan can come up with right here. Second and third, one out. Taijuan does have a home run this year. He's got 3 RBIs. Freeland at 40 pitches, only 22 for strikes. 1-2.
It's probably a little more concerning to Bud Black since Kyle Freeland, as we've mentioned, doesn't throw a lot of secondary pitches. He relies on 3 different fastballs, and those are the pitches you should be able to command the best.
It's a little tapper to first. Drury's going to stay put. Now he's going to come home, and they don't get anybody. 2-0 Diamondbacks. Oh my goodness, both Reynolds and Drury were hung up in between. Each guy changed his mind midway through the play as to what he was going to do. And that worked out for the Diamondbacks.
Well, the timing of this play couldn't have worked out any better for the D-backs. Drury comes halfway down the line. Reynolds saw him, and by the time he realized, I better get over to first base and try to get the out there, it was too late, and Drury snuck in the back door.
He'll take it. Well, that goes back to what you said for your key to the game, Bob. You can't make mistakes like that in this ballpark.
I mean, not only did the run score, but they did not get an out on the play. And now you roll around to the top of the batting order with runners on base.
David Peralta walked and scored to lead off the ball game. So it works out for an RBI single for Taijuan Walker.
Drove it through the right side.
Crushed it. Rosales at second, Taijuan at first. Diamondbacks have scored in each of the first 2 innings now. David with 5 hits in 4 games at Coors Field this year, including a home run. And while it's the only homer he's ever hit in this ballpark, he's about a .350 career Coors Field hitter. That's in 19 games here. This is a high bouncer to LeMahieu. A little trouble on the exchange to Story, but they get it there in time, and that ends the inning. Another double play ends a Diamondback threat, but once again they get a run. They lead it 2-0. Torey Lovello and the plate umpire Brian O'Nora. And now O'Nora's talking to Bud Black. It looks like there was something at second base the Diamondbacks didn't like.
Yeah, it looked like Story came off the bag. He did. He tried to drag his foot across the back of the base as he was receiving the throw from LeMahieu, but that right foot came off the bag before he caught the ball. I think, however, the Diamondbacks just took a little bit too long to determine they wanted to challenge that play at second base, and Brian O'Nora explained that to Torey Lovello, and there really wasn't much Torey could do at that point. And Taijuan Walker was on base when the inning ended, so he's just now getting back out to the mound.
All right, so Taijuan is set to go as we get ready for the bottom of the second inning. Let's go down to Jody.
Well, guys, I was talking to Chris Iannetta today about the fact that, Walker last 2 starts, he's been excellent at .77 ERA. I talked about the game plan with Chris. I said sometimes it seems like you guys go heavy fastball, sometimes more breaking ball. He said, look, we just continue to make adjustments as the game goes on. They don't many times go in with a complete game plan. They do, but then they wait and see exactly what's working. He said, though, mainly the thing that's been different for Taijuan in the last 2 starts is the fastball velocity. He said when it's up there around 95, that's what they want to see. And prior to the previous 2 starts, at times it was more, 91, 92. So first inning, it was definitely up there, guys. We saw it from 93 to 95 on the 4-seamer.
Yeah, Jody had the curveball working too, got some good swings and misses on that. And Bob, we talked with Torey before the game today about his impressions now that he's been to Coors Field a few times, and the thing he said to us was about the fastball, right?
Yeah, he said the right-handed pitchers, even right-handers that try to throw that 2-seam sinker, the ball always seems to cut and go the opposite direction. I've never really heard anybody say that before. I've seen that sinkers don't sink as much as you anticipate, but I've never seen a manager or a pitching coach or a pitcher for that matter talk about their fastball going the wrong direction.
Just at this elevation, it has some movement that you don't find in other places, Torey thinks. That's been his impression so far. So now we're set to go. The catcher, Jonathan Lucroy, leads off the Colorado second. And there is that Taijuan fastball. Lucroy acquired by the Rockies at the trade deadline from the Texas Rangers. And he's played in just over 20 games with Colorado. And they've needed him. Both their 2 starting catchers, the Rockies, Tony Walters and Murphy, have both been banged up over the course of the year. We saw veteran Ryan Hannigan back there for 1 series. Then they went out and got Lucroy at the deadline. Texas decided to move him. He's due to become a free agent at the end of the year. He's got a mountain man beard going, that's for sure. Just off the plate with that fastball. It's 2-2.
And talking about the extra velocity for Taijuan Walker, you'd be amazed at what a difference a couple of miles per hour makes in a pitcher's confidence. When you know you can bust it up there at 95 or 96, you're more willing to attack the top of that strike zone.
Took something off with that curveball. Boy, that has been a terrific pitch for Taijuan Walker here tonight. He's got 4 strikeouts.
Up a little bit in the zone right there. You'd like to see that down a little bit, but got the desired result, a swing and a miss from Lucroy.
Here's Story. 230, 18 home runs, leading the National League in strikeouts. He is striking out a whole bunch lately. There's the slider. It's 0-1. In his last 32 games, Trevor Story has struck out at least once in every game but 1. That's a lot of strikeouts. Wow. And sure enough, he's down 0-2.
And this is one of those situations, too, where you're striking out a lot. You're not making solid contact. So what do? They put you down in the 8 spot, which is probably the toughest spot in the lineup to hit, with that pitcher coming up behind you.
Fastball away, 1-2. Taijuan looking for a quick second if he can get it after a long first. Able to check on that slider. It's 2-2. The pitcher Freeland will be next. And there is another Trevor Story strikeout. Couldn't check on the high fastball. That's 5 strikeouts for Taijuan Walker in 3 in a row.
Hey fans, the day after every Diamondbacks win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Kyle Freeland, not a bad hitting pitcher, 8 hits on the year. Strike away from getting the side in order. And there it is. Taijuan Walker, 6 strikeouts. He's punched out 4 in a row. And the D-backs have a 2-0 lead. Lead the Rockies 2-0. Hey D-backs fans, don't forget to stop by your local Fry's and stock up on your favorite Pepsi products using your VIP card. You'll earn valuable D-backs rewards points that you can redeem for merchandise and game experiences. Pepsi, the official soft drink of your Arizona Diamondbacks. And as always here in Denver, a lot of D-backs fans with us. And a lot of fans on the flight with us too.
Yeah.
Whole big group is here for this series. And why not? It's a big one. It's the fight for postseason, a 3.5 game lead over these Rockies for that first wild card spot. Chris Iannetta leads off the Diamondback third against the rookie Freeland. There's his strike. Chris walked his first time up. High in the air, short right field. Here comes Cargo. Well, you're right. It doesn't come down as fast.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I've joked about it in the past. You can get cramps in the back of your neck looking up, waiting for those pop-ups to come down. Lunar baseball.
AJ, an RBI single, opened up the scoring in the first inning. AJ's bat really coming around lately. He homered yesterday. He homered Tuesday in the sweep of the Dodgers. Boy, Freeland has that little hitch in his giddy up sometimes. As soon as he gets halfway through his motion, he almost stops and starts again.
We see Freeland doing it here tonight. We see Clayton Kershaw do it all the time. Anything to disrupt the timing of the hitter up there at the plate.
Yeah, there's a momentary pause when he's on that back leg. He'll tap the glove and then continue what he's doing. Right there.
My buddy Rocky Bridges, when he was my manager in AAA, as far as rhythm and timing for a hitter, he used to say when the pitcher shows you his back pocket, you show him yours, which means when the pitcher gets to that point in his delivery, when you can see his right hip pocket in the case of Kyle Freeland.
AJ shoots one to the gap, and that's going to roll all the way to the wall. Pollock's on the run. Little stumble around second, and he's in at third. AJ Pollock. That's triple number 6. Put that in your back pocket.
Yeah, no kidding. AJ continues to drive the ball. His second hit of the ball game. This one rolls all the way to the wall in left center field. And that wall in left center field is a long way from the cutoff man and third base. So AJ just never breaks stride. Crazy legs around first. Broke his stride just ever so slightly around second base, but easily in at third with the triple.
Oh, he's lucky he didn't collide with Mark Reynolds coming around the first base bag. Infield will come in now. Pollock at third, 1 out for Goldie, who flying out to center his first time up.
Yeah, just quickly finish that idea about when the pitcher shows you his hip pocket. When he turns and lifts his leg and you can see his pocket, you should be at a point in your stance where you're showing him your pocket, getting your hands back into a load position, getting your weight onto the back foot before driving into the ball. Now, if a pitcher shows you his hip pocket and then stops somewhere after that in his delivery like Kyle Freeland does, that's going to throw off that basic rhythm. So as a hitter, you've got to make some kind of adjustment.
So it really is a timing mechanism.
Yeah.
D-backs have scored a run in each of the first 2 innings. And a chance to continue that trend right here with AJ at third and 1 out. That's the third walk issued by Kyle Freeland. A chance for J.D. Martinez.
How about this for AJ Pollock, partner? That was his first multi-hit game since August 17th. Now we've seen it slowly start to come back for AJ, but over his last 3 or 4 games, he is really starting to pound that ball.
That is going to make an enormous difference down the stretch here. We've seen Brandon Drury's bat come to life lately. Now AJ Pollock as well. You add those 2 guys, and we've said this before, to the mix. When they're firing on all cylinders, that offense is going to put up some numbers. They're on the corners. 1 out for JD, who grounded into a double play his first time up tonight. Fastball up, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, when you get guys clicking in your lineup, most managers say you lengthen the lineup. I like it when Torrey says you thicken the lineup.
It's a subtle difference.
Yeah.
You're big into nuance like
Yeah,
that.
very much so.
Fly ball, right field, Gonzalez. Pollock at third. Argo's got it. Here comes AJ. Goldie stays put, and it's 3-0 Diamondbacks. RBI for J.D. Martinez. And they've scored a run in each of the first 3 innings.
Don't stop now, boys. Well, that ball carried a long way. It didn't really sound like JD got all of it. Hit it out toward the end of the bat a little bit, but it carried just a step or two in front of the warning track out there in right field, making it an easy tag and score for AJ.
Brandon Drury singled and scored to lead off the second. A 3-0 lead for Taijuan Walker. He'll keep an eye on Goldschmidt over there. To move his feet that time. Brandon Drury has been an extra base hit machine lately. Our State Farm winning combo in his last 16 games. 10 of his 12 hits have been for extra bases. 8 doubles, a triple, and a home run. Really starting to drive that ball into the gaps, down the lines. Bullpen will get busy for the Rockies. Friedland approaching 60 pitches already. Carlos Estevez has started to warm up for Colorado.
At least 11 relievers available for the Rockies tonight. It is September 1st. After
yeah, and for the Diamondbacks too.
Yep.
We should point that out. What's fair is fair. So they got some fresh arms back there. J.J. Hoover is here. Silvino Bracho is here. Braden Shipley is here. All part of roster expansion. Diamondbacks added a couple of bats as well. Catcher John Ryan Murphy, as Drury walks that one off. Murphy has been hanging around the club for a couple of days. They want him to catch some bullpens and get used to these pitchers, and that's a guy they like a lot, John Ryan Murphy, the catcher. And Christopher Negron is here. We saw him all spring long. He had a really good spring, and he can play anywhere on the field, so he's a guy who could really come in handy.
Well, you know that must hurt for Brandon Drury. He's a guy that normally doesn't even recognize when he fouls a ball off that front foot. And he's just having a hard time regrouping here.
Yeah, we don't need any more injured infielders. There's Chris.
Yeah, he had a really good spring. It seemed like it didn't matter whether he was playing in the outfield or shortstop or third base. No matter where they put him this spring in Cactus League play, he swung the bat extremely well.
Got a couple of home runs. He'd played 3 or 4 different positions in every game, it seemed like. 1-2 on Drury. 60 pitches for Freeland, only 33 for strikes. He's walked 3. And he's got 1 strikeout. Two and 2. Really good series for Brandon against LA this week. 2 doubles, a triple. He knocked in 3 runs. Had some big hits. Really, as Torrey put it, trending in a positive direction with that bat, and he's getting more and more playing time as a result. Jake Lamb waiting his turn. Oh, nice pitch there. Dropped the slider in for a strike, but the Diamondbacks get another run. They lead the Rockies 3-0. Berthiaume. Bob Brenly and Jody Jackson with you. D-backs have a 3-0 lead over the Rockies. And BB, as I always tell you, you don't know ARP. It's getting to know ARP. How about games gained in the wild card since August 21st?
Look at that. Well, obviously that's your goal every day you take the field, is put some more distance between yourself and those teams that are chasing you in the standings. And the Diamondbacks have done a real nice job of that here at the end of August.
They have won 7 straight games and 9 of their last 10. They're 3.5 up on Colorado as we open up this series. Charlie Blackmon, who struck out to lead off the ball game, leads off the 3rd. All 6 of the Rockies outs so far have come on Taijuan Walker strikeouts. He has walked 2 batters. He really labored in that first inning. Taijuan left the bases loaded, kept it scoreless, but he needed 31 pitches to do it. And then struck out the side 1-2-3 with a 15-pitch second. Blackmon a base hit to lead off the 3rd. Well, he is the National League's leading hitter. And now let's see, they're going to go with it again here. This crazy outfield shift against DJ LeMahieu. Look at center field. That's David Peralta out there. He's the left fielder. There is no one in left field. A.J. Pollock slides over to be in front of the bullpen in right center, and J.D. Martinez right on the line in that right field corner. Because LeMahieu is a guy who almost always goes to right and right center. So they are all in on this LeMahieu alignment.
Yeah, not only Peralta shading over into center, A.J. Pollock in the gap in right center, but J.D. Martinez is guarding the right field line like a third baseman late in a tie game.
Boy, it's amazing to see all that room in left field and left center field.
It goes without saying that if LeMahieu would happen to pull one down that left field line, it's probably going to be an inside the park home run.
Boy, you would see the freight train running as fast as he can. I mean, as we pan over here towards center, oh, there's an outfielder. That's the left fielder right there. Top right of your screen. 0-2 on LeMahieu.
But like I said in this previous at bat, if he's thinking about that, you've already thrown him off his game, because DJ LeMahieu's game is to stay inside the ball, even on inside pitches, and flip him out there to right field. If you've got him thinking about hitting the ball to left field, you've already taken away some of his effectiveness.
This is a guy who almost never pulls the ball. And he really rarely ever hits balls up in the air. A lot of hard line drives or hard grounders. And that's what he did his first time up. He just kind of poked a double that stayed just fair down the right field line. Blackmon holds it first. Called strike 3. Rung him up with that slider. 7 strikeouts for Taijuan Walker. You know, Bob, it's funny because he's got a dominant fastball, but all these strikeouts are coming on the slider and the curveball.
Well, whatever it takes. I mean, if you do have a big fastball like Taijuan Walker, hitters are going to be aware of that. They're going to protect against that high velocity, high fastball, and that's when you become susceptible to off-speed pitches that move away from the strike zone.
Nolan Arenado, some big swings and misses on some slow Taijuan curveballs his first time up. Hard slider missed. It's 1-0. If you're just joining us, 3-0 Diamondbacks. Everybody wearing the yellow ribbons and wristbands in recognition of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. It's leaking out of play. All major league teams, players, coaches, umpires, grounds crew members wearing the gold ribbon decals and the wristbands. It is Childhood Cancer Awareness Day at every major league ballpark. fighting off these fastballs. 1-2. Rockies 3.5 back of the Diamondbacks for the first National League wild card spot, so they've fallen behind a bit. And not only that, their lead over Milwaukee for that second wild card has been whittled down to only 2.5 games. So Rockies fans get a little nervous out here. That was the consensus that we found. Tone and tenor of Rockies Nation, as it were, which has been sky high all summer long. They're having a lot of fun. But they're starting to get a little nervous now, and Milwaukee's got a lead over the Nationals at Miller Park. That's Jimmy Nelson versus Tanner Roark. Jimmy's got a 1-0 lead.
Wow, Jimmy's pitching well tonight.
Blackman takes off for second. Oh, Chris Iannetta. It was a check swing by Arenado, and the bat caught Chris right in the hand.
Boy, very late swing that time by Arenado. It almost looked like he was intentionally trying to hit the mitt right there. Man, that's a weird looking swing right there, but that is catcher's interference on Chris Iannetta.
Well, we already have one catcher with a broken hand, and Jeff Mathis. And now Chris Iannetta looks to be in a lot of pain.
Boy, and you know this is a man that can tolerate a whole bunch of pain.
Yep. Now they did add, as we mentioned a moment ago, John Ryan Murphy to their expanded September rosters. He is here. He's been catching in Reno since he was acquired from Minnesota in midseason. And of course they have Chris Herman. But looks like CI is going to put the mask on and see if he can tough it out.
Back in the days, we used to play the Pirates. Dale Berra was a guy that was notorious for doing exactly what Arenado did right there. Just swing real late, try to catch a catcher's glove, and Dale Berra was a master of it. You had to sit about 5 feet further behind the plate when he was up than you did for any other hitter.
Odd for the son of a catcher to do that.
Yeah.
Too. A chance for Reynolds, who walked his first time up. Blackman at second and Arenado at first. Taijuan Walker got out of a bases loaded jam in the first. He's got 2 on, 1 out here in the third. Well, thank goodness Chris, at least for the moment, seems to be okay back there.
It's a little bit like a foul ball off your front foot when you're hitting. It didn't stop hurting. But you just kind of take inventory. Okay, that feels like everything is where it's supposed to be. Even though I'm in a lot of discomfort, there's not going to be any more damage done.
Taijuan able to jump ahead 0-2. Reynolds does strike out a lot. He sort of regressed with the strikeouts. He's 4th in the National League in punching out. Called strike 3. Good hard fastball. That's 8 strikeouts for Taijuan Walker. And Reynolds not thrilled with Brian Onora back there.
That's one that would fall into that borderline category. Might have been a hair off the outside corner, but was cutting away from the middle of the plate toward that outside corner, so he got the call from Brian Onora.
Taijuan struck out the side in the second. At one point he punched out 4 in a row. Now 8 for the ball game. 2 on, 2 out for Desmond, who walked his first time up.
This is quickly turning into one of those Satchel Paige games where you just call all your defenders in. I'll handle it. I don't need any of you. Just give me a catcher and everybody else go get a cup of coffee.
Every single out has been a Taijuan Walker strikeout. Desmond's another guy that's got a tongue of swing and miss. 0-2. Can he get the first 9 outs of the ball game on strikeouts? 0-2 on Ian Desmond.
The story goes that Satchel Paige, back in his days of playing in the old Negro leagues, used to feel so good out on the mound on a given day, he'd turn around and call in all of his defenders. Go on into the dugout, I've got this. Then he would proceed to strike out the side. We have no video of that, so we can't confirm it.
Now that is a different kind of shift. Slider almost got to the backstop. Iannetta gets in front of it. Desmond has basically not been much more than a singles hitter his first year in Colorado. Only 14 extra base hits all year, 5 homers. There's a ball in play. Rosales the short way for the force on Arenado. Taijuan Walker through 3 with a 3-0 lead. In this fight for postseason, we're set for the 4th inning here at Coors Field. Hey fans, check this out. It's a brand new show Sunday. You can ride along with David Peralta as Jody Jackson drives him to work. Hitching a ride with Jody to the ballpark. It's the premiere of D-Backs Driven In. It's presented by Sanderson Ford, and it's coming up this Sunday after the Diamondbacks and Rockies on Fox Sports Arizona.
Now, a little concerned. I've seen some previews of this show.
Have you? I have not. What
Jody spends an inordinate amount of time looking away from the road.
Oh, 10-2, Jody. 10-2. I thought that they would suddenly burst into song like the guy on the CBS show, the English guy, James Corden.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's in a future show.
I have to ask Jody if there's any karaoke in that show. Jake Lamb leads off the 4th. Jody, are you, first of all, what about Bob's concern about your drive? You have to be attentive.
You know what? I hadn't noticed that watching the tape, but I just know I was really working hard to drive safely and drive carefully. I did use my hands a few times, I noticed, which was a little frightening as I was talking. But I thought you were going to say at first I spent an inordinate amount of time eating.
No, I didn't see that. Wait, are you eating and driving?
A little bit.
Texting, right, changing the radio station. What else are you doing?
This is a very unsafe show. Bob and I are very concerned, Jody.
Wait till you see we have Peralta coming up, and then in 2 weeks, Chafin and Godley.
Oh, boy.
Really goes off the rails.
Big Lamb strikes out for
But on the road. On the road.
I'm a little worried, frankly. I remember when you did Parra and Prado, and then you guys were all, I think you pulled off to the side of the road to dance.
Got out to dance, yeah.
They definitely had a plan. Martine was driving, and, you know, I picked up the coffee, and they thought it was hilarious to ride right by me and leave me on the side of the road. And then, yes, we stopped at a light on McDowell and 68th, and Gerardo said, let's dance. And, yeah, so.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was funny. It was funny. We had a lot. We did not do any dancing in these particular episodes, but we had a lot. There was some lassoing involved in the Andrew Chafin
Wait a minute,
project.
what?
Yeah,
Chafin?
you'll have to wait and see.
Wow, I got to watch this show now. Who knows what you're going to see.
Now that's a tease.
That's good work there, Jody. That is D-backs Driven In. It's presented by Sanderson Ford, and it's a premiere Sunday right after the D-backs and Rockies game, Fox Sports Arizona.
I'm also a little curious how they get home. Does Jody drive them back home?
Yeah, she has to wait around and then
Wait after the game, yeah.
It's funny. But she's eating and driving. She's talking. She's looking around. You know, that's our left fielder and leadoff man out there in the car.
Well, David, I noticed, never took his eyes off the road.
He was too frightened. You know, he's got his fingernails embedded in the dashboard while Jody's talking and looking. So who knows what you're going to see on that show. That's a must watch now.
Sounds good. Well, anything that can humanize these players a little bit more. You know, fans come to the ballpark and you get to look from the seats and watch your favorite players perform out there on the field, but just getting an opportunity to see them away from the field, a little more of a casual environment, get to see a little more of their personality. I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, D-backs players are really good about that too. And they had a lot of personality. Everybody wore their jerseys on the flight out here. It was a very happy flight anyway, obviously, but they had the big fantasy football draft in the hotel last night. Everybody was wearing a different jersey, drafting their teams.
Great move on the part of the coaching staff. I noticed that the players that are on the disabled list, Nick Ahmed and Chris Owings and Yasmani Tomas and Shelby Miller, the coaches wore the uniforms of the players who were on the disabled list.
Yeah, that was really cool. I know Dave McKay wore a Nick Ahmed jersey and Errol Prieto wore a Yasmani Tomas jersey. It was a neat thing. But they had a lot of fun with that. 0-2 on Taijuan Walker, 2 outs here in the fourth. And there's the slider. Freeland gets his 4th strikeout. D-backs lead it 3-0. Wild card race. Brewers only 2.5 behind Colorado for that second wild card spot. And hosting the Cardinals, Neil Walker, the former Pirate and Met. A long home run there off Tanner Roark. Milwaukee hosting Washington. So here's where things stand right now. The Brewers with Jimmy Nelson. Jimmy's got a 1-0 lead.
Jimmy's dealing.
Marlins have lost some ground now. Marlins were 6 off the pace, make it 6.5 now. They lose at home to the Phillies. And later tonight, you've got St. Louis at San Francisco. That's Jack Flaherty against Johnny Cueto. D-backs with a win here can make it 4.5 games over Colorado for that first National League wild card spot and the right to host that NL wild card game on October 4th. And then the winner would move on, likely to face the Dodgers in the division series. Taijuan Walker's had to throw a bunch of pitches, but he has been very, very solid. Every time he's been in trouble, he's gotten out of it. He's got 8 strikeouts so far through 3 innings against lefty Kyle Freeland. Carlos Gonzalez, who struck out with the bases loaded to end the first, leads off the 4th. Do you think Milwaukee can catch Colorado?
I don't know why not. I mean, you know, peaks and valleys and all that stuff we talk about all season long. It really just depends on how you're playing in this final month of the season. And you know, sometimes teams save their best for last.
That one gets over the head of David Peralta, plays it off the wall. Cargo goes the other way for a leadoff double. His 23rd of the year. They really, really need his bat to get going. It's been ice cold as of late.
Well, that was a smoked line drive to left field right there. That ball never got very high off the ground. A fastball up and away, and he backspins it to left field on a line. David Peralta played that carom perfectly. Gonzalez was not running hard, had to really turn it on to make it to second base there.
Yeah, he's had a bad left foot and bad left ankle all week long. He's not moving around all that well. But it's a leadoff double. Here's Lucroy, who struck out his first time. Taijuan has had traffic around him on the bases most of the ball game, with the exception of the second inning when he struck out the side in order. 1-2-3. Taijuan threw 2 2/3. Had 8 strikeouts. The first 8 outs he recorded in the ball game were strikeouts. That is the second most strikeouts to begin a game in D-backs history. One behind Dan Herron, who did it back in 2010. There's a strike. Paul is all over that one in the truck. Nice work, Paul.
Good pull with Dan Herron too. You know, you think of the great pitchers for the Diamondbacks that might have done that.
Jake Lamb at third. Cargo stays put, 1 down.
You know, you think about RJ and Schill and Brandon Webb, some of the guys that have racked up big strikeout totals. But Dan Herron struck out the first 9.
Struck out the first 9 Dodgers he faced back in May of 2010. Trevor Story, a strikeout victim his first time up. Story leading the National League in strikeouts, but he's still been productive lately. 6 doubles during what is now a 6-game hitting streak. That's this one way in the air, deep right center. Pollock backing up at the track, at the wall, and he's got it. Gonzalez tags up and jogs into third. That one somehow stayed in the yard.
Hey fans, watch the Drive to the Pennant with MLB.TV every night on every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Well, Bud Black is going to dip into his newly expanded roster here on September 1st, and Mike Tauchman will come up and hit for the pitcher. Kyle Freeland. Freeland's night will end here. Mike Butcher pays a mound visit. There's the numbers on Tauchman. 26-year-old rookie, only 2 for 11 this year. Well, we have a moment. What are your thoughts on expanded September roster?
Not a fan.
Why not?
We've talked about this in the past. It just changes the game too much in the final month of the season when pennant races are on the line and everything becomes so vitally important, and suddenly you could have as many as 40 players available on a given night. I think there should be a reward for players you want to call up from your minor league system, guys that have had a good year and deserve a call up, but whatever the number is, 26, 27, 28 active players on a given day, the other guys are ineligible. Now tomorrow you might want to make one of the ineligible players active and bump one of the guys off the active roster to the ineligible, but I just think it creates too much of an unfair advantage for some teams.
Well, you play 5 months under one set of rules, and then you play the most important final month under a whole different set of rules. And this is a good example right now. Bud Blackie's got a deep bullpen. He's got a deep bench. He can hit for his starting pitcher in the 4th inning, and there's really no price to be paid for it. 1-1 on Tauchman.
Oh, by the way, this is the 4th game in a row where the Diamondbacks have chased the opposing starter in 4 innings or less.
Shock and awe. Argo at third, 2 outs. Taiwan at 75 pitches already. Tauchman has played nearly the entire year at AAA Albuquerque. And he had a really good year in the Coast League. He hit better than .330 with 16 home runs. We actually saw Mike Tauchman earlier this summer when he was first up with the Rockies in late June and early July. That's fouled off. Now that's something that has to be collectively bargained, right? Players union and the baseball has to get together and agree on some kind of taxi squad system or something. Almost like hockey, where you have a few guys who are healthy scratches every game.
Yeah. I've heard some people say they're in favor of expanded rosters for the month of April. You got guys coming out of spring training. A lot of pitchers aren't stretched out enough to get deep into the ball game yet. Some of the position players haven't had enough at bats to feel like they're ready to start the season. So it's been suggested that maybe you use the expanded rosters in April rather than September.
Taiwan loses the pinch hitter Tauchman, and now here comes the National League's leading hitter in Charlie Blackmon. The shift is on for Blackmon, who has struck out and singled 1 for 2. Gonzalez at third, Tauchman at first, 2 outs. Blackmon is a really tough out. Now more so than ever. He's hit safely in 9 straight games and 14 of his last 15. .80 pitches for Walker, 49 strikes. This is sent out to Peralta, left field. David is there. And once again, Taiwan Walker leaves some Rockies on the bases. D-backs still lead it 3-0. Fans, you can help people affected by Hurricane Harvey by visiting redcross.org or texting the word Harvey to 90999. That's Harvey, texted to 90999. And when you do that, you'll make a $10 donation, which helps the Red Cross prepare for, respond to, and help people recover from the Hurricane Harvey disaster. We start the fifth. Here's the guy they call Wild Thing, Carlos Estevez. Now you have to follow me on this.
Okay.
Remember, of course, Charlie Sheen was the Wild Thing, Ricky Vaughn, in the movie Major League. Of course, his real name is Estevez, and so they've made that connection here in Colorado. So they play the Wild theme song when Estevez comes out of the bullpen.
Okay.
It's kind of like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon deal, but it kind of works. We're called from AAA Albuquerque today for the 8th time this year. How about that? Guy's been up and down from the minors 8 times. 2
of those were the 26th man on a day when the Rockies had a doubleheader. You're allowed to add 1 player to the roster, usually an extra pitcher, and Estevez has been that guy twice this year.
David Peralta has walked, scored a run. That's a good idea, fans, to remind fans about how options work. And you think, well, how can a guy be up and down 8 times in 1 year? Isn't he out of options?
That's considered one option. You can send a guy up and down as many times in 1 season as you need to, and that's considered one option.
But now with the roster expansion in September, you can bring everybody up.
And different teams have different philosophies. I mentioned earlier, rewarding a minor league player for having an outstanding year, bring him up to the major league level, let him get a few at-bats here or there, maybe even get a couple of starts before the end of the season. Other teams only call up players that they can use. Maybe it's a guy that comes up just as a pinch runner in that final month of the season, or an exceptional defender, or a specialist out of the bullpen. Somebody that will be used in the pennant race.
Yeah, Silvino Bracho has had a year much like Estevez, where it seems like he's been up and down 8 times this year, but as you said, it only counts as 1. Now, do the veterans like it when all of a sudden September 1st gets here and there's, 5 freckle-faced kids in the clubhouse and there's no locker space and all that stuff?
The veterans don't mind it so much because they get their lockers, I mean, Paul Goldschmidt is going to get a full locker. He's not going to have to share with some kid that's just been called up from Reno. The guys that notice are the guys that are the 24th, 25th man on the roster, and they have to share a locker with one of these snot-nosed kids that just came up from Reno.
Hey, that's my stuff.
Hey, take turns. I was here first.
Well, you can see Estevez throws hard. Got a big fastball. That helps with the whole Wild thing. Now, when you came up, did you have to go, excuse me, Mr. So-and-so, where can I put my stuff?
I came up after the strike in '81, so it was just a 25-man roster, and I had my locker in the clubhouse with everybody else, and yeah, that was the first time I'd been on a major league roster. I'd never been to spring training or instructional league or anything. No call-ups, nothing. So
suddenly there you were.
Here I am.
Wow.
Yeah, I've told the story many times in the past. That strike in '81 was the best thing that ever happened to me. It wasn't so great for Major League Baseball, and it really affected a lot of the guys that were hurt by the strike, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me as Blackman runs that one down.
9-pitch at bat there by Peralta brings up Chris Iannetta.
Yeah, during the strike, Frank Robinson and Tom Haller, our general manager at the time, had the opportunity to come down to Phoenix and watch some games. They went to our AA affiliate and watched some games, and it just so happened when they came to Phoenix to watch some games, I was red hot. Played left field one day, caught the next, played first base, and then caught again, played center field, and was swinging a bat pretty good. And when the strike ended in '81 in August, I was called up to the major leagues for the very first time.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yes, indeed it is.
Iannetta has walked and flied out, so it looks like Chris's hand is doing okay. Thank goodness. I bet it still hurts, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. throws that slider about as hard as the starter Kyle Freeland threw his fastball.
Well, the issue must be command. Estevez made 26 appearances with Albuquerque this year. And it's funny, as hard as he throws, he only had 26 strikeouts in 27 innings, so it's not like he was dominating down there. He's having trouble throwing strikes even at 99. It's full 3-2. Iannetta knocks that into left field. One out single for Chris. So Chris Iannetta now with an 8-game hitting streak.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
As A.J. Pollock continues to produce a single, a triple, runs scored, RBI, what are you seeing from him at the plate that's suddenly changed here?
Just the timing. He was just a little bit late on everything. You know, AJ's got the big leg kick with the front side. He's got a big hitch with his hands, and everything was just a little bit late. Was having trouble catching up to pitches that he normally drives hard. He's getting that foot down a little bit quicker. He's getting those hands back up in a high position as the pitch is being delivered, and he has been right on time lately.
He's now hit safely in 4 straight games, 6 of his last 7. Funny, with that RBI single he had in the first that made it 1-0 Diamondbacks, that made it 6 consecutive hits for AJ with an RBI. He knocked in a run with 6 straight hits.
Wow. Money hitting. That's what Dusty Baker used to call it. Guys that drive in a lot of runs. Might only get 1 hit a game, but they drive home 2 or 3 teammates. Those are money hitters.
Dusty always has a bunch of good slogans like that.
Dusty's one of the great storytellers in the history of this game. You get him talking about just about any subject, and he can name drop with the best of them. Hank Aaron told me, Eddie Matthews told me, Willie Mays told me, Jimi Hendrix told me. He's got stories forever.
AJ chases a fastball and strikes out, 2 down.
You know, and the other factor for AJ, and he said it last night after the ball game, he's swinging at more strikes. Boy, when you're struggling offensively, you want to be aggressive. You want to put that ball in play with authority, and you end up chasing a lot of pitches that you can't handle.
Goldie has flied out and walked. He's 0 for 1. Iannetta the runner at first and 2 outs. The story at shortstop. They get the force on Iannetta. Then ends the inning. Bottom 5 all the way. It's 3-0 Diamondbacks.
shutting out the Rockies 3-0. It's time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. We go back to the '08 season. Stephen Drew becomes the third player in D-backs history to hit for the cycle and the very first major leaguer to hit for the cycle at then Bank One Ballpark, now Chase Field. That was an 8-6 comeback win over the Cardinals that day at Bank One Ballpark.
Taijuan Walker here at Coors, holding a 3-0 lead. Taijuan has walked 3. He's got 8 strikeouts. Struck out DJ LeMahieu his last time up, and again the Diamondbacks put on the DJ LeMahieu outfield shift with the left fielder David Peralta in dead center. You've got Pollock and Martinez, the center fielder and the right fielder, shifted way over toward the line in right. There is no one in left or left center. I think when this shift is referenced around the major leagues after tonight, they need to be called the LeMahieu shift.
And you have to pronounce it that way.
Yes, that's the rules. 1-2. Sure enough, he goes the other way. A.J. Pollock. The DJ LeMahieu shift works to perfection. That's the center fielder making that catch in right field. It worked beautifully that time.
How about that? And I'll tell you, J.D. Martinez could not get to that ball. He was playing so close to the right field line. There was a gap in straightaway right field, and A.J. took it away.
You think it's messing with his head?
I do believe it is.
Nolan Arenado.
And we know Torrey is not above doing something like that. Remember we faced John Lester, and he remembered from experience with the Red Sox, Lester didn't like it if you dropped a left-hander in the lineup every so often. So what did he do? He had a lefty lead off against John Lester.
Hey, this is big boy baseball. We're keeping score here. Taijuan, a big slow curveball, which has given Arenado some trouble. Follows that up with a good fastball, and he's ahead 0-2. That one went off the glove of Iannetta, and they're able to complete the strikeout. That's 9 for Taijuan Walker, 2 down.
Well, a nice recovery there by Chris Iannetta, avoiding what would have been a pass ball on a strike 3. I think that ball just took a little more break than he was anticipating. Hits right off the end of the mid as Arenado swings through it. A little bit of a late start out of the batter's box. Arenado didn't immediately realize that ball went to the backstop.
Mark Reynolds, bases empty, 2 down. He has walked and struck out. I have got some big time breaking news for you.
Oh,
you're going to like this.
I like breaking news.
Connor Gray, right-hand pitcher for the Diamondbacks single-A Kane County affiliate, threw a perfect game tonight.
Wow.
A 9-inning perfect game. He had 8 strikeouts for Kane County at Clinton, which is the Seattle Mariners Class A affiliate. The first perfect game ever by a D-backs minor league pitcher.
Outstanding.
Connor Gray, right-hander, so there's a name to watch. First perfect game ever by a D-back minor leaguer, and the first perfect game in the history of Kane County. Also the first perfect game in the Midwest League since 2000. So it's been about 17 years. So congratulations to D-backs minor leaguer Connor Gray. A perfect game for Kane County. He's a former St. Bonaventure star, 20th round pick by the Diamondbacks last year. 10 strikeouts for Taijuan Walker, who leads it 3-0 here at Colorado. 10 Rockies through 5 innings and leads it 3-0. Hey fans, the D-backs in a huge wild card battle with these Rockies. It's the fight for postseason. Every one of these games is big. And we've got an even bigger series coming up in just about a week or so at Chase Field against Colorado. 4 games at home versus the Rockies, September 11th through the 14th. And you can get tickets for as low as $2, but only this weekend. Online, dbacks.com/fight. It's the fight for postseason. J.D. Martinez hits one deep to left field, and it bounces off the base of the wall. Desmond over there to pick it up, and Martinez has a leadoff double. That's his 19th of the year.
Didn't quite catch all of it, but got enough of it to bang it off the wall out there in left field. Sounded like he hit it out toward the end of the bat just a little bit, but that's how strong JD can be. Almost hit that ball out of here, catching it off the very end of the bat.
A chance for Brandon Drury, who has singled and scored a run tonight, 1 for 2. More note on that big 3-day weekend sale during the fight for postseason. Only good during this weekend. It's a special 3-day sale for tickets for that Rocky series at Chase Field, September 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. As Drury taps it to the right side, that moves Martinez along. Nicely done.
Nice unselfish at bat right there by Brandon Drury. It'll go down as an 0 for 1 in the scorebook, but watch him when he gets back to the bench. I bet he gets a lot of high fives from his teammates for moving JD to third base with only 1 out in the inning.
A productive out. During this 3-day sale, fans, outfield reserve seats are $2. Bleacher seats $5. There's your high fives. Everybody on their feet. A lower level baseline reserve seat is only $10. Only for that series, September 11th through the 14th. At Chase Field against the Rockies. So they're going to give Lamb first base. The infield will come in, and the hitter is Adam Rosales. So check it out online, dbacks.com/fight. And that way you can enjoy all 4 games against the Rockies at Chase Field coming up soon.
Looks like Adam Rosales is going to be taken down for a pinch hitter right here after the intentional walk to Jake Lamb.
Well, you've got runners on the corners and 1 out. Rosales bats 8th in the lineup. And they've got the left-hand bat of Ray Fuentes on the bench, so that's where they'll go. You're going to hit for your shortstop here and use Fuentes, who's hitting .234 with 2 homers.
Going to have a meeting at the mound here as Steve Foster, the pitching coach, makes a trip out to talk to Estevez. And another related minor league story, the Reno Aces, congratulations, headed their way once again. They clinched the Pacific Northern Division of the Pacific Coast League yesterday, their 4th playoff berth in team history, and Christian Walker, infielder outfielder for Reno, was named the Pacific Coast League most valuable player. Congratulations to the Aces and to Christian Walker.
David Hernandez starts warming up. Yeah, Christian Walker is leading minor league baseball in RBIs. How about that? And extra base hits.
First player in the Pacific Coast League to hit 30 home runs or more, drive in 100 or more, score 100 or more since Mark Trumbo.
Ray Fuentes knocks that one into right field. Martinez is home, and the Diamondbacks have a 4-0 lead. Torey Lovullo pushing some buttons. He lifts Rosales for the pinch hitter, and Ray Fuentes delivers an RBI single.
Boy, that wasn't an easy pitch to hit. Fastball down low and away, and he banged it into right field for an RBI base hit.
And now Ketel Marte will come up, and he will hit for Taijuan Walker. So Taijuan's night will end right here. Got a few more toys to play with in September, and Torrey's taking advantage. So Taijuan goes 5 scoreless innings. He gave up only 3 hits, walked 3, and struck out 10. And here is Ketel Marte. Ketel 3 hits in his last 2 games after sitting out a few days with that tight left hamstring.
Yeah, maybe a different venue. You extend Taijuan Walker, send him back out there for another inning or 2, but Diamondbacks have been extremely careful playing here at elevation here at Coors Field, trying to monitor the workload, how many days they hit on the field, when they have their team meetings, and so forth and so on, with an eye toward the fatigue that every team experiences when they come in here and play 3 games at Coors Field. So maybe that's a part of the reasoning for pulling the plug on Taijuan here after 5.
1-1 on Ketel Marte. I think another reason might be the pitch count. He was at 93. 59 for strikes, and that's generally where we've seen Bob Taijuan start to tire just a little bit, somewhere in the mid-90s or so in terms of the pitch count. Rockies bullpen is busy. 1-2 on Marte. Ketel has only played 2 games at Coors Field, both with Seattle. 0 for 8 in this ballpark all time. Taijuan in line now for his 2nd straight win after going nearly 2 months without a victory. 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Bounce to 2nd. LeMahieu charges, shovel past to Story for 1. They erase Fuentes, Lamb in at 3rd. Marte aboard at 1st, 2 outs. And the hitter will be David Peralta. Pitching change coming up for the Rockies. It's 4-0 D-backs. with at least 10 strikeouts. 4-0 Diamondbacks threatening more here in the 6th inning. A fan Suns night coming up Tuesday, September 12th at Chase Field. You can get the special event ticket package that includes a lower level baseline reserve seat and a co-branded D-back Suns cap. All that for only $25. The special event ticket pack is available online right now, dbacks.com/Suns. On from the Rockies bullpen, the left-hander Zach Rosscup, who's been up and down several times between the Rockies and AAA Albuquerque. David Peralta, the hitter. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs, a run is home. Swing and a miss. David hitting about 280 this year versus left-hand pitching. He's got Lamb at 3rd, Ketel Marte at 1st. Swing and a miss at that slider, and it's 0-2. Big break from Marte, but Peralta strikes out. Diamondbacks add a run. They lead at 4-0. David Hernandez on his way in. Couple of jams. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool plays of the game. 5 scoreless innings, only 3 hits allowed. He punched out 10.
I think the real key for Taijuan Walker tonight, he had a real good fastball, obviously, but his secondary stuff was outstanding tonight. Slower curveball, the harder slider, used them both very effectively tonight.
I think it might be the best we've ever seen, those pitches, Bob, oddly enough, here at Coors Field. So he gives way to David Hernandez. It's the Ashline call to the bullpen. David acquired from the Angels to help bolster the relief corps. His 53rd appearance of the year. Ian Desmond, the left fielder, leads off the Rockies 6th. Ketel Marte remains in the game. He takes over at shortstop for Adam Rosales. Marte hitting 9th, pitcher spot now 8th in the Diamondbacks order. Desmond has walked and hit into a fielder's choice. Rockies managed only 3 hits against Taijuan Walker. LeMahieu doubled, Blackman single, Carlos Gonzalez doubled. Just over the head of Hernandez. Drury backhands it, but there's no play, and Desmond's aboard. Well, that's a classic Ian Desmond hit these days. Almost everything he puts into play is on the ground.
And unfortunately for the D-backs, he got enough of a bounce off of the hard dirt out in front of home plate to get it over the head of David Hernandez. By the time Brandon Drury got to it, he really had no chance to make a play.
Carlos Gonzalez hit a slicing double off the base of the wall in left field his last time up. Curveball from Hernandez. It's 0-1. D-backs 3.5 games ahead of these Rockies for the wild card lead. Their bullpen is busy. Milwaukee breathing down Colorado's neck. The Brewers are only 2.5 back. And they are leading at Miller Park against Washington 1-0. That's in the 9th inning. That's now gone final, in fact. Jimmy got the win. Fair ball. That's headed for the right field corner, and Desmond's on the run. They're going to wave him home. There's no relay, and the Rockies are on the board. It's 4-1.
The first one just a little bouncer up the middle for a Desmond base hit. This one is ripped down into the right field corner by Cargo.
Tell you what, that's a bad sign because he has been ice cold for a long time. They've been waiting for him to get going, and you don't want to see it start tonight.
No, not at all.
But he has doubled twice. He's knocked in the Rockies' first run. Here's the catcher Lucroy, 0 for 2. Just out of the reach of Hernandez. Drury gets the out. Cargo moves up, 1 down. Here's Trevor Story. Story has struck out fly now, 0 for 2.
Diamondbacks willing to trade a run for an out right here. They're going to play their infield back all the way around.
Can you afford to do that in this ballpark?
Well, I think Torrey's of a mind that he'd rather concede 1 run here and take the out rather than play the infield in and run the risk of a big crooked number inning.
Pitcher spot is up next. Ryan McMahon, who's had a big year in the minors, just called up today on September 1st with expanded rosters, is ready to hit. Hernandez behind 2-0. Jorge De La Rosa, the former Rocky, starts to get loose in the Diamondback bullpen. High in the air, center field. Cargo at third. AJ's under it. Here comes Gonzalez. He will score, and it's 4-2. RBI for Trevor Story. Now here's McMahon. Ryan McMahon, left-hand hitter, being announced right now. Torey Lovullo has his left-hander warming up, going over things with Mike Butcher over there. And he wants the lefty to face McMahon. We'll take a break from Coors Field. It's a ball game again. 4-2. D-backs lead it. David Hernandez in the 6th inning. It's a 4-2 ball game right now. D-backs fans, the fight for postseason continues. If you can't watch the games on your TV, then don't forget you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. You can download the app for free, and that'll let you take Fox Sports Arizona and the Diamondbacks with you wherever you go. Don't miss a game here in September. It's the fight for postseason. Former Rocky Jorge De La Rosa answering the ash line call to the bullpen. Bases empty, 2 outs, 2 runs in, and Ryan McMahon will be the hitter for Colorado. 2 for 9 at the plate and only 4 games to begin his big league career. 22-year-old rookie. McMahon had a big year in the minors this season. This is a 2nd-round pick 4 years ago out of high school in Santa Ana, California. And he was up for his major league debut briefly last month, back up today with expanded rosters.
And 119 minor league games this year, split between AA and AAA. Hit .355, 39 doubles, 20 homers, drove in 88.
That's what they need, another good hitter.
Yeah. Perfect.
1-1. Yeah, this is a guy for those reasons they like a lot. And Valley fans may have seen Ryan McMahon. He played for the Salt River Rafters last year in the Arizona Fall League. Got a very pretty left-hand Will Clark kind of swing. D-backs led it 4-0. That's been cut to 4-2 here in this inning. Desmond led it off with a single. Gonzalez an RBI double. He came home in a Trevor Story sacrifice fly. Blackman, the leadoff man, is on deck. 2 outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
McMahon, a little bit of an oddity. He's a utility guy that plays first, second, and third. Usually you play short and second or third and first, but he can play a little bit of middle infield if they need him.
Yeah, they've been trying to figure out long term. All right, where should we play this kid defensively? Because we've already got some pretty good hitters up here. J.J. Hoover back up with the Diamondbacks, starts to get loose. Missed with a fastball, and McMahon has worked the count full 3-2. You don't want to give Blackman a chance here. You'd rather have him leading off the next inning with the bases empty. And we lost him. And here comes Blackman, the league's leading hitter. Blackman single in the third, 1 for 3. He hits left-hand pitching. He's a .335 hitter against lefties with 6 home runs.
Yeah, numbers are even a little more pronounced against Jorge De La Rosa. Excuse me, I got the wrong one. Let me look on the other side. Never mind. He's 0 for 2 against Jorge. I was looking at Ruby De La Rosa.
Good advantage. He is having a tremendous season. Well, you've got J.J. Hoover warming up in the bullpen, and some right-handers coming up. LeMahieu, Arenado, Reynolds, Desmond. Torey Lovullo looking at that right now. There's the strike.
Charlie trying to negotiate the strike zone up there.
Well, he's got some negotiating power with the year he's having, Charlie Blackmon. He leads the major leagues in runs, hits, triples, and total bases. One and one. Hit him.
There's a four-seam fastball, ran up and in, caught him on the rib cage, and then ricocheted away right there. Not sure if there was any history between those two as teammates. It certainly wouldn't appear to be any reason for De La Rosa to plunk Blackmon.
Well, now Torrey's going to have to go get De La Rosa and bring in his right-hander. Turning into a big inning for the Rockies. D-backs trying to get that final out back after this. And has hit some bumps in the sixth inning. 2 hits and 2 runs allowed by David Hernandez. Jorge De La Rosa faced 2 batters, walked 1, hit the other, and so now it's up to J.J. Hoover to get the Diamondbacks out of this 6th inning. Just back up for the minor leagues with expanded rosters. It's the Ashline call to the bullpen. He'll face DJ LeMahieu with 2 on and 2 out and 2 runs in. LeMahieu, I'm sorry, Bob, doubled in the first inning. He's 1 for 3.
I was just going to say the LeMahieu shift once again is on, and with the runner at first base once again, if LeMahieu should happen to hit a ball to left field, pretty good chance Charlie Blackmon's going to score from first base.
The left fielder David Peralta in straightaway center. A.J. Pollock, who made a great running catch on LeMahieu his last time up, is right in front of the Colorado bullpen, almost in straightaway right field, and Martinez, the right fielder, tucked into that right field corner far right of your screen. There is no one in left field or left center. Is that a little too much of a gamble with 2 runners on here? He hits it anything to left field. 2 runs are going to score.
It's going to tie the game, no question about it. I mean, once again, they're just, I think, trying to get in the head of DJ LeMahieu, take away the area where he normally hits the ball, and try to get him to change his swing to drive the ball to left field.
1-1. It's going to work once again. He fell right into our trap. Hit it into the LeMahieu shift. And J.J. Hoover strands 2. Rockies get 2. It's 4-2 D-backs.
One, J.J. Hoover, one of them who recorded that last out. I saw J.J. in the clubhouse. I said, did you expect to be here? He said, well, you know what? I never take anything for granted, but he is certainly glad to be back with the squad. Now, Torey Lovullo said that he and Silvino Bracho will resume their roles. Braden Shipley is here for length in that bullpen. Chris Negron, we saw his versatility back in spring training. He continued that in Reno, playing every position but catcher and batting .300. And then John Ryan Murphy, he is getting to know the staff right now, guys. Basically, he's a great defensive catcher, great reputation there. And he's just learning the pitchers and kind of learning the D-back way, following Chris Iannetta, Chris Herman, and Jeff Mathis. I asked Torey, would you be willing to put him in there for a start? He said, yes, definitely down the line.
I think they like John Ryan Murphy a lot, Jody. Chris Iannetta hits one in the air, left center field. Desmond's over there. And Adam Ottavino gets the first out here in the 7th. You saw the numbers on Ottavino, who is already the 3rd reliever used by Bud Black here tonight. Good night for A.J. Pollock, an RBI single in the 1st. He tripled and scored in the 3rd, struck out his last time. AJ's been hitting the ball hard lately. He's got home runs in 3 of his last 5 games. Ottavino has been very good lately for Colorado. Scoreless baseball in 13 of his last 14 appearances. 51 strikeouts in 46 innings this year.
Ottavino has a little bit of that crossfire, almost like Jake Arrieta. Steps way to the 3rd base side of the mound, throws back across his body, really effectively hides the baseball till the last instant.
And when your name is Ottavino, you should be number 0.
I still think you ought to be 00. And make the O at the beginning of his name and the O at the end of his name a little bit bigger than the rest of the letters, and then wear 00 on top of it.
Now you've gone crazy. It's got a nice symmetry to it, though, there. Remember, Al Oliver used to wear 0. He was a great hitter, Al Oliver.
Jeffrey Leonard wore 00 for a while.
The Hackman.
That cost me $500, by the way.
I'm sorry, what? 3-1 to AJ. I got to hear this.
Well, I got bamboozled is what happened.
Well, what happened?
Jeffrey Leonard had already gone to our general manager, Al Rosen, and asked permission to wear 00, and Al Rosen granted that permission, and then Jeffrey came back to the clubhouse without telling us that.
Oh, you got set up, man.
I'm changing my number to 00, and ain't nothing they can do about it. No, ain't no way. No way, Hackman. You're changing your number to 00. Well, he did, and I had to pay up.
That's a lot of money.
Well, I was pretty sure I knew Al Rosen, and I didn't think there was any way in the world Al Rosen would allow Jeffrey Leonard to wear 00. So I put my money where my mouth was.
Yeah, you got burned. Goldie on deck. 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. 3-2 to AJ Pollock.
I know you're a stickler about pitchers wearing single digits. What about 0?
I like 0 because it's 0 and because his name begins and ends with zeros. There's a nice flow to it. I'm down with this. Pitchers wearing number 4 or number 8. No, that's not. Oh, trying to sneak that little slider through the front door. Good take by AJ. It's a 1-out walk.
I think that one looked a lot closer than it really was. That front door slider, even if it's caught on the inside corner of the plate, it was never in the strike zone.
Well, now would be a good time for Goldie to do this. He faced Ottavino before at Coors and went the other way for a home run. And Goldie, as we mentioned at the top of the show, has hit a ton in this ballpark this year. 4 homers and 12 RBIs in only 6 games here this season. But 0 for 2 so far tonight. .109 RBIs. That's 3rd most in the National League. On sent there by Ottavino. Pollock holding all the way. It's 2-0. Goldie has been hot. He's got home runs in 4 of his last 6 games. AJ breaks for second, got a big jump, the throw from Lucroy. Caroms into center field, and Pollock gets 3rd. Pitch was a strike to Goldie. It's 2-1. AJ gets 2 bases right there.
It'll be a stolen base for AJ, an error on Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. Good quick release by Lucroy, but couldn't get much on the throw. It short hops LeMahieu and gets by into center field. Outstanding with 1 out in the inning. Now they're going to go ahead and take the bat out of Goldie's hand, send him on down to first with the intentional walk.
Good. Put more runners on for JD Martinez. I'm fine with that. JD doubled and scored his last time up. And JD, like Goldie, another guy that's hit very well in this ballpark. .15 hits and 32 career at bats here. So he's about a .500 hitter at Coors. That's that same pitch he tried to get AJ with, that front door slider he missed. It's 1-0. Looking for that big hit. It was 4-0 Diamondbacks. It's now 4-2. That slider again, 2-0. Ottavino has thrown 14 pitches, so far more balls than strikes. 2 walks, 1 intentional. Big cut on the 2-0, got his fastball. Bullpens have been busy all night. The lefty Mike Dunn. You've got Drury on deck and Jake Lamb behind him. A.J. Pollock breaks for home and he scores. Goldie will get second base. They threw over to first and A.J. broke for home. 5-2 Diamondbacks.
That turned into a snowball fight in a hurry. Ottavino throws one about 110 miles an hour over to first base. Looked like it hit Goldie, and A.J. Pollock very alertly saw that throw in the dirt to first base, broke for home. Mark Reynolds threw it away at home plate.
So that is E1. The error on Ottavino allows the run to score, and then E3 puts Goldie at second base. So 2 Rockies errors on that play. One by Ottavino, one by Reynolds. It's 5-2 Diamondbacks, and there's your tacos.
There's your happy tacos.
Tacos on a double error.
After the error by Lucroy on the stolen base attempt by A.J. Pollock.
3 errors in the Colorado 7th defensively. That one misses to Martinez. And it's 3-1.
Well, what a good read by A.J. over there at third base. That ball was kind of spiked in the dirt as Goldie was sliding back into the bag. It appeared to hit Goldie, but A.J. got a great read, much like a base runner on a pitch in the dirt. He saw that that pickoff throw was going in the dirt and easily scored.
Yeah, he took off like a shot. Well, you were saying, Bob, you cannot make mistakes in this ballpark because it seems you always pay for them. And in this case, the Rockies have made most of them tonight. Another walk. That's the 3rd straight walk by Ottavino. One was intentional. 2 on, 1 out for Drury. Adam Ottavino, 17 pitches and only 7 strikes. 16 by our count. And a chance for Drury. 2 on, 1 out. A run is home. Brandon singled and scored in the 2nd inning. Goldschmidt at second, Martinez at first. 1 out. Brandon has RBIs in 3 straight games. He's got a chance to tack on some more runs right here. Boy, he keeps trying to throw that slider in to steal a strike. I don't think he's scored a strike with it yet.
It's one of those situations where Goldie normally looks to steal third base if they don't pay much attention to him out there at second. But with Ottavino scuffling to find the strike zone, I think you got to just drop anchor right now until he proves he can throw strikes.
Got a fastball and fouled it off. Brandon hitting just over 300 this year with runners in scoring position. Late time granted. Diamondbacks have scored 1 run in 5 of the 7 innings so far, but they've yet to put up a crooked number. Two and one on Brandon Drury. Well, he's not going to stop throwing that pitch in that same spot. He has not thrown a strike with it yet. Jake Lamb on deck. Mike Dunn, the lefty, is warming up in the Rocky bullpen.
It's so unusual that he continues to try to throw that slider on the inside corner to a right-handed hitter. That's generally a pitch you try to scoot out on the outside corner and get some swings and misses.
Fouls off a fastball, and it's 3-2.
I guess the only good news for Adam Ottavino is when he's missed with that front door slider, it's been farther inside. If that strays out over the plate just a little bit, it becomes a very hittable pitch.
He seems absolutely determined to throw it in there to these right-hand hitters. Now the count is full, 3-2. Runners holding. Drury slaps that one foul.
Might have chased ball 4 right there, but too close to take. It was near that outside corner, near the bottom of the knees, just too close for Brandon to let it go by.
Looking for something down the line or in the gap here. 10 of Brandon's last 12 hits have been for extra bases. Full count, 3-2. Got him. Well, he finally got something with that slider, got him to chase that one. And now they've got the lefty ready for Jake Lamb.
This is what I was talking about with that slider on the outside part of the plate. It's a swing and a miss pitch, but when you throw it to that front door, it's very visible to a right-handed hitter.
Another pitching change. Back after this. Against the Rockies. And here is the lefty Mike Dunn, a team leading 57 appearances, the 4th reliever used by Bud Black here tonight.
Fastball slider combination from Dunn. He has a curveball, but he rarely uses it, and it's about a 50-50 split between the fastball and the slider.
2 on, 2 out. The batter is Jake Lamb. Jake has struck out twice. He's been walked intentionally, 0 for 2. Paul Goldschmidt, the runner at second. J.D. Martinez at first. 1 run is in. 3 Rockies errors in this inning. Well, you were saying earlier, Bob, the Diamondbacks would love to see Jake Lamb turn this second half around. He's hitting only about 200 since the All-Star break, and they need his bat. He's faced a lot of lefties lately, though. Pitcher spot is up next. 8th in the Diamondback order. Daniel Descalso, former Rocky, sitting on deck circle. If Lamb should reach.
Well, with the expanded rosters in the month of September, there's a good chance Jake Lamb's going to be seeing even more left-handed pitching. And you've got those extra arms available in the bullpen, and the guy has struggled against left-handed pitching the way Jake has this year. He's probably going to see a lot of lefties.
Came into the game a 148 hitter against left-hand pitching this year. LeMahieu is way back on the outfield grass at second. Reynolds back deep on the line at first. 3-0. Descalso waiting his chance. Rockies have issued 3 walks and committed 3 errors in this top of the 7th. It's led to 1 Diamondback run. Swings on the 3-0.
I guess he figures that's his best chance to get a fastball, and Torey Lovullo has shown a willingness to turn guys loose, especially with runners on base.
D-backs about hit the Rockies 8-5. Silvino Bracho, Archie Bradley warming up in the Diamondback bullpen.
More than likely Bradley, if the score stays the way it is. If Jake would happen to step on one right here and give the D-backs a little bit more of a comfortable lead, you might see Bracho in the game.
2 on, 2 out, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runners on the move, and Lamb hits it just by LeMahieu. They wave Goldie to throw us into third. Martinez is in there, and it's 6-2 Diamondbacks. A big 2-out RBI knock by Jake Lamb.
Boy, not only in the context of this ball game, but just for his own sanity against a lefty, against a tough lefty who's been throwing really well. He hit a screaming line drive into right field to drive home Goldie.
LeMahieu was way back on the outfield grass at second, and Jake hit it just by him, right into the shift. And it's back to a 4-run Diamondback lead. It was 4-0. Rockies cut it to 4-2. And now it's 6-2 as the former Rocky Descalso steps up. 241, 8 home runs. Daniel had an RBI single. He started at second base yesterday in the win over the Dodgers. And Daniel's hitting about 160 against lefties this year. Does have a home run against a left-hander. Jake Lamb, a heads-up play there, takes second base.
A little delayed steal that time by Jake Lamb. He waited until the ball actually got into the hitting zone before breaking for second base. And the idea is you catch the middle infielders unaware. There's a certain rhythm and timing to a stolen base as well, and when you don't see that guy at first base break immediately, a lot of times middle infielders put their heads down or look over their shoulder to the outfield.
High in the air, headed for the right field wall, and that ball is gone! Daniel Descalso, look who's back in town! And the Diamondbacks have opened up a 9-2 lead. How about Jake Lamb with an RBI single off the lefty, and then Descalso steps up and blasts a 3-run home run.
Oh, got a pitch up on the zone, got it high in the air to right field. I was just watching Cargo out there in right. He just started drifting back toward the warning track, dropped his hands to his side, looking up. That one sails well out of here.
A Jumbo Jack, a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow at Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink. 9-2. Here is Ketel Marte, the shortstop.
It just seemed too odd to have 3 errors and 3 walks in the inning and only 1 run scored. Now it looks a little normal, a little more normal.
Big crooked number 5 up there on the board right now in this D-backs 7th. That's Descalso's second pinch hit home run of the year. Well, like you said, now you can sit Archie Bradley down. Save Archie's arm for a night.
Well, Descalso was a big favorite here in Colorado in his brief time as a Rocky. And for a lot of the same reasons that the Diamondbacks like Daniel Descalso. Those professional at bats, the versatility on defense. Gives you a good at bat against left-handed pitching.
D-backs now with 9 runs on 10 hits. It's turned into a 5-run 7th. This is bouncing to second. LeMahieu slides over there and makes a nice play. Former Gold Glover. But the D-backs put up a 5 spot. Daniel Descalso. A pinch hit 3-run home run. Diamondbacks have scored 9 times.
Here's the 2-2 to Boy. Swing and a pop fly. Shallow right field. Going out Walton. Steven Smith has it, and the Kane County Cougars have just witnessed history. Connor Gray, a perfect game against the Clinton Lumber Kings here on September 1st, 2017.
That is the great Joe Brand, the voice of the Kane County Cougars. Connor Gray tonight threw a 9-inning perfect game for single-A Kane County, the first perfect game ever by a Diamondbacks Major League pitcher, and the first perfect game in the Midwest League in 17 years.
Wow.
So congratulations to Connor Gray, Joe Brand, everybody at Kane County. Well done, outstanding. Silvino Braccio on to start the bottom of the 7th inning against Nolan Arenado. Now these two have seen each other before.
Oh yeah.
We go back to opening day last year when Braccio came in, and this happened at Chase Field. And Silvino was sent to the minors the next day, and he's trying to get his feet back under him, it seems, ever since. Arenado hitless so far. That's hopped over the mound. Drury charges, bobbles, recovers, and Arenado is safe at first. Base hit for Nolan Arenado. Here's Mark Reynolds. Reynolds has walked and struck out twice tonight. Rockies were already a little concerned about the way they've been playing lately. They just finished their worst month of the year, 12-15 in August. Diamondbacks, in the meantime, have won 7 straight, 9 of 10. So the gap between Arizona and Colorado was up to 3.5 as we came in here tonight. D-backs threatening to make it 4.5. And oh, by the way, Milwaukee has won. They won at home against Washington 1-0. And so the Rockies' wild card lead would be down to only 1.5 games over the Brewers. And they'd be 4.5 behind the Diamondbacks. Welcome to September baseball.
Yes, indeed.
Braccio's behind 3-0 on Reynolds. No lead is safe. How about those kicks on Braccio?
Glow in the dark. I thought Ketel Marte's teal shoes were really bright, but man, those are toothpaste white.
He went white with the teal stripe. That's kind of cool. Well, it's a single and a walk to open up the 7th. You just can't do that here at Coors Field, no matter how big the lead is, because one swing from one of these guys and it's a ball game again. And the batter is Ian Desmond. Desmond has walked, singled, and scored a run tonight, 1 for 2. Silvino Braccio struggling to find it right here. 8 pitches, only 3 for strikes. Mike Butcher not loving what he's seeing. This is the way it has gone for Silvino Braccio at the big league level ever since that Arenado homer on opening day last year. Sometimes Silvino comes up and he looks pretty good. You get encouraged about what you see. He's got some life on the fastball. 6 of his last 7 outings with the Diamondbacks have been scoreless, in fact. But he never seems to quite come in and give you that real quick, clean 1, 2, 3 inning.
He's just in that limbo territory where he's on the verge of being categorized as a 4A pitcher, a guy that dominates in the minor leagues. You call him up to the major leagues and he has a little bit of success and then he struggles again. You send him back to the minor leagues, he dominates again down there, entices you to bring him back up, and then the struggles continue. He's just looking to break through and become a big league pitcher all the time.
He is just simply not throwing strikes. He walked Reynolds, now behind on Desmond, 2-0. And you've got Gonzalez, who's already doubled twice tonight, on deck. Three balls and no strikes. 10 pitches, 7 balls. Gonzalez waiting his turn. There's a 3-0 strike. Maybe some help there from Brian O'Nora. O'Nora has been pretty consistent. Chafin's going to have to hurry up and get loose with a lefty Cargo on deck. Andrew usually only needs about 7-8 pitches to get going. Here's another strike. O'Nora has called pretty much every borderline pitch a strike. He has been consistent in that regard tonight. Full count, 3-2. Arenado at second, Reynolds at first.
With the length of this at bat, Chafin should be ready to go. As you said, it doesn't take him many pitches down in the bullpen. Plus, he'll get 8 on the game mound.
Yeah, he heats up pretty quickly. Tried the changeup, lost it. It was way upstairs. And now a single and 2 walks have loaded the bases with no outs. And Torey Lovullo's going to have to go get his left-hander. So Chafin will come into a bases loaded, no out mess to face Cargo back after this. Have reached to open up the Colorado 7th inning, a single and 2 walks. And so now it's bases full of Rockies, nobody out. And it's Andrew Chafin, the sheriff, answering the call to the Ashline bullpen. He'll face Carlos Gonzalez. Now this is the second time in the game that Gonzalez has been up there with the bases loaded. He struck out with the bags full in the first against Taijuan Walker, but he has doubled in his last 2 at-bats. And so here we go, bases full, no outs. It's Chafin against Cargo. The Rockies tonight 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. D-backs with a 9-2 lead, but it feels a lot smaller than that in this ballpark and in this circumstance. Gonzalez hitting .212 against left-hand pitchers this year. He has not homered against a lefty this season. Chop to second. Drury will get one. Arenado's home, and it's 9-3.
Got the soft contact he was looking for. Unfortunately, so soft they could only get the one out at first base as the run scored.
And Lucroy, the catcher, will be the hitter. He's 0 for 3. Fastball's in there, 0-1. Lucroy acquired by the Rockies at the trade deadline from Texas. 1 homer, 5 RBIs with Colorado. He's got Reynolds at third, Desmond at second, and 1 out. Look out, Trevor Story. That one almost got the Rockies shortstop in the on-deck circle. He's another one of those guys that likes to creep in behind home plate. Get a look at the pitcher. Almost paid for it that time. Chafin ahead 0-2. Called strike 3. Rings him up on a fastball. 2 down.
Good fastball inside corner. Andrew just could not get his pitches to that inside corner against the Dodgers. Was really missing to his arm side, up and away from right-handed hitters, pitch after pitch after pitch. Good to see him pound that fastball inside to a righty.
Trevor Story knocked in a run his last time up with a sacrifice fly. He's 0 for 2. Story leading the National League in strikeouts, but he's always a threat, it seems, against the Diamondbacks. 3 career homers, or pardon me, 3 home runs this year against Arizona, 9 for his career. Fastball missed. 1-1.
Boy, if he could pull a rabbit out of his hat right here, Andrew Chafin, and get out of this inning with only 1 run scoring, that would be quite the magic act.
Inherited a bases loaded, no out jam, and now he's ahead of Story 1-2. Pitcher spot is up next. Pat Valaika, who's been an excellent pinch hitter for Bud Black this year, is on deck. He's got very good numbers as a pinch hitter. 2 on and 2 out, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Trevor Story.
Perfect location with that 2-strike fastball there, right on the outside corner at the knees. Story just able to get a piece, and unfortunately hit Iannetta in a bad spot in the mitt that time. Couldn't hang on.
Boy, it's been busy down there all night long. Scott Oberg, the right-hander, he was warming up earlier in the ball game. Bracho had a tough night. A single, a walk, and a walk. Responsible for Reynolds at third and Desmond at second. That's a base hit. Both runs are going to score as it gets to the wall in right center. 2-run double for Trevor Story, and it's 9-5.
I think they went after him with the right pitch. It's just a nice approach that time by Story. This is a guy that normally tries to lift the ball in the air to left field every time he swings, but on that fastball away, he just drove it to the gap in right center to drive home a couple more.
Story now with a 7-game hitting streak, 7 doubles during that streak. Valaika will be the hitter. Mike Butcher to the mound. Pat Valaika has been an outstanding pinch hitter for Bud Black this year. A .326 batting average in 52 pinch hit plate appearances. A .258 hitter on the year.
3 home runs and 11 driven in off the bench for the Rockies this season.
Well, it's another Coors Field ball game on a Friday night in lower downtown. Back and forth we go. Valaika playing mostly off the bench lately, just 3 for his last 24 up there. Good slider from Chafin, and it's 1-1. Blackman, the league's leading hitter, would be next, and LeMahieu behind him. Diamondbacks with 5 runs in the top half of this inning. The Rockies have counterpunched with 3. Went back to that slider, and it's 1-2. Right field, Martinez. Rockies have pulled within 4, 8th inning. Diamondbacks have a 9-5 lead. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies in the opener of this 3-game set. As we start the 8th inning, Game 2 tomorrow. That's what's next. It's brought to you by CenturyLink. A really good pitching matchup. Patrick Corbin, who's been just sensational lately for the Diamondbacks, is up against the big right-hander Jon Gray. First pitch at 5:10. That's Arizona time.
Arizona
right?
time, yeah.
We're an hour back. So Diamondback Live pregame show tomorrow at 4:30. First pitch at 5:10 for Corbin and Gray, Game 2.
It'd be interesting to keep an eye on Patrick tomorrow. A lot of his success recently is based on that slider, fastball command, but especially that slow curveball that he's using for an off-speed pitch. It's been a very good weapon for him recently. See if he can get it to break here at Coors Field.
Let's see, the 5th relief pitcher of the ball game used by the Rockies skipper Bud Black is Scott Oberg. 52 appearances, an ERA near 6, just brought back up from AAA Albuquerque about 2 weeks ago. So he's had a difficult season. David Peralta, the leadoff man, leads off the Diamondbacks 8th. David walked and scored to lead off the ball game. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Sliders a strike, and it's 0-2. D-backs trying to hang on. They led it 4-0 and 9-2. Looking for their 8th straight win. Last time the Diamondbacks won 8 games in a row, August of 2011. Struck him out. Went back to the slider, 1 down.
Not so sure that ball was ever in the strike zone. David, the body language, he just looks like he's out of sorts tonight. He's taking some really funny swings.
Chris Iannetta has walked and singled. Another start for Chris, batting 2nd in the order. He's now got an 8-game hitting streak. Missed with a fastball. It's 1-1. Bullpen is quiet for the sheriff, Andrew Chafin. We've got the left-hand hitting Charlie Blackmon due to lead off the Rockies 8th. Iannetta hits it right at LeMahieu, who spins and throws it out for the outfield grass. 2 down. Been a good night for A.J. Pollock. A.J. had an RBI single in the 1st. He tripled and scored in the 3rd. Walked, stole a base, and scored a run his last time up. He took off from 3rd base with a runner at 1st after the pitcher threw over there, Adam Ottavino. It was a low throw in the dirt right in front of the first baseman, Mark Reynolds, but it was enough for A.J. to take off and score from 3rd on a throw over to 1st. And he bangs that to right center. Blackmon's over there, though. And that's at the end of the inning. Bottom 8 on the way. D-backs lead at 9-5. Wild card race, the Cardinals 5 back of a wild card spot at the start of play today at San Francisco. And Hunter Pence comes up with a big hit. St. Louis trailing 5-2 right now. They're in the 6th inning of AT&T Park. The Brewers won. They beat Washington, so Milwaukee has picked up a half game already on the Rockies. If Colorado loses this one, their hold on that last wild card spot will be down to a game and a half. And it'll be 4.5 games behind the Diamondbacks for the right to host that wild card game October 4th. Charlie Blackmon leads off the Rockies' 8th against Andrew Chafin. Marlins were 6 off the pace. They lost at home to the Phillies 2-1, so they may be done. Charlie Blackmon squirts one into center, a leadoff single. That's his 2nd hit tonight. The National League's leading hitter.
Now we saw a similar ball get over the head of David Hernandez into center field for a base hit. Andrew Chafin just not in great fielding position as he finishes his follow through, and that one gets by for a leadoff knock.
And now you've got 4 right-hand hitters coming up for the Rockies, starting with DJ LeMahieu. So Torey Lovullo goes to Archie Bradley, back from Coors after this. Bob Brenly and Jody Jackson with you. Diamondbacks, when we started the home half of the 7th inning, had a nice comfortable 9-2 lead. Silvino Bracha was out there, and you figured, okay, we can save some bullpen arms and off we go into tomorrow. But not so fast, McDuff, because we've had to use Andrew Chafin. And now Archie Bradley comes on after Blackmon singled to lead off the bottom of the 8th.
Hopefully restore a little sanity to this game out of the bullpen. See the numbers for Archie this season. He's been fantastic. We're going to ask him to do that one more time.
The 7th pitcher, the 6th reliever used by Torey Lovullo here tonight in what was a 9-2 ball game just 1 inning ago. But that's the way it goes here at Coors Field. DJ LeMahieu, the hitter. He doubled in the first. He's 1 for 4. Blackmon at first, no outs. Goldie's got it. They get 1. Marte turns the double play. A pretty 3-6-3. Archie Bradley comes in, gets 2 outs with 1 pitch.
Gets much more efficient than that. Goldie handles that 3-6-3 as well as any first baseman in the game. Makes his throw to second and then immediately turns his back on the play in the middle of the infield to get back to the base and take that relay throw.
You know, it's plays exactly like that for me cement his MVP award in the National League. We see it so often we almost take it for granted, but people are not aware nationally how good a defensive first baseman Paul Goldschmidt is. But they're going to start to dig into the numbers once the season ends and it comes time to vote for the MVP. And it's going to be a no-brainer. Arenado. Talked about that on the radio today with Burns and Gambo. People were talking about, well, Giancarlo Stanton's going to hit a bunch of home runs, and not for a Marlins team that might finish 9-10 games out of a postseason spot. This is the guy right here. He's been a runner-up twice, and this is his year.
The guy at the plate may have something to say about that too. Nolan Arenado, another guy putting up big offensive numbers and also a tremendous defender down there at third base.
Well, Archie didn't give him anything to hit there. He'll work to Reynolds. Yeah, Arenado, you're right, leading all of baseball with RBIs. Putting up his usual big numbers.
I think Arenado will get a few voters that won't go his way because of the Coors Field effect.
And they're not wrong. That is something that I think will hurt Charlie Blackmon and his candidacy as well. Some of the numbers for some of these Rockies hitters, there's just no getting around it. Not that Nolan Arenado is going to hit anywhere. But he gets a 50-point bump in batting average here at Coors, and his OPS goes up by about 170 points. And with Blackmon, the difference is much greater. This one is headed to the wall in right center, but Martinez is there. And Archie Bradley gets us to the 9th inning. Diamondbacks have a 9-5 lead. Comes in, gets 3 outs in the 8th inning, and gets us to the 9th with a 9-5 D-backs lead here at Colorado. Fans, we invite you to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Day. It's presented by Bud Light. Saturday, September 9th, first 20,000 fans with us at Chase Field. D-backs and Padres at 5:10 start will get the Sugar Skull bobblehead. That's courtesy of Pepsi. Get your tickets now at dbacks.com. Paul Goldschmidt leads off the Diamondback 9th inning against Scott Oberge. Goldie 4 hits shy of 1,000 for his career. He's hitless tonight, 0 for 2. He has walked twice and scored a run. Diamondbacks this season are 65-3 when leading after 8 innings. Right to shortstop. Story gets over there. One down. Woodberg's retired all 4 he's faced. Conversely, the Rockies, when trailing after 8 innings this year, are 2-52. Fernando Rodney starts to get it cranked up in the bullpen. Colorado in the home half will have Desmond, Cargo, and Lucroy due up 5, 6, and 7. JD Martinez has had a good night. RBI, sac fly. He's doubled and scored a run. He's walked and scored a run. Diamondbacks have scored 9 runs in a ball game in which Goldie and Martinez have combined for only 1 hit.
How about that?
D-backs with 9 runs on 10 hits. Rockies 5 runs on 8 hits. Colorado committed 3 errors in the 7th inning. 3 errors and 3 walks in that D-backs 7th. They got 5 runs on only 2 hits. Jake Lamb an RBI single. Daniel Descalso a 3-run pinch hit homer. 1 and 2.
You look at the numbers for Scott Oberg. 45 innings pitched before tonight. He'd given up 60 base hits in those 45 innings. His ERA was almost 6. You look at the stuff he's flipping up there, you wonder how anybody hits it. This guy throws in the high 90s as a snapdragon slider.
5 up, 5 down. He's got 2 strikeouts.
That's that slider. Starts it at the bottom of the zone. Breaks it down into the dirt. JD Martinez just couldn't hold up.
Well, he's made 52 appearances. 34 of them have been scoreless, but he's had some big innings against him this year. Descalso, the former Rocky, with the hit that at the time broke the game open. D-backs had a 9-2 lead going into the bottom of the 7th. Right to the shortstop, Story. So here we go. Bottom 9 on the way. It's 9-5 Diamondbacks. Lower downtown Denver, Colorado. The Diamondbacks 3 outs away from a 4.5 game lead for the first National League wild card spot. They have a 9-5 lead as we start the home half of the 9th at Coors Field. And Fernando Rodney, the 7th different relief pitcher used by Torey Lovullo tonight, is out to get the final 3 outs. Rodney has been sensational. Christopher Negron just called up from AAA Reno today with expanded September rosters. A very good infield defender and a guy we saw a lot of in spring training. Replaces Brandon Drury at second base. Ian Desmond will lead off the 9th. So Rodney will try and nail this one down and get the Diamondbacks their first 8-game winning streak in just over 6 years. D-backs have split the first 12 games with the Rockies this year, but they have won 4 of their last 5 versus Colorado, and this would be certainly a good start to this series. Fastball in, it's 1-0. D-backs right now 3-3 at Coors Field this season. Things have not been going the Rockies' way as of late. Their peak was 21 over 500. That was back on June 20th. Since then, they've gone 25 and 35, which is the NL West's worst record over that span. So they have really struggled, especially offensively lately, which seems really odd for this ball club.
Chuckling. This is one of those at bats for Ian Desmond. First pitch was up under his chin, then a fastball on the outside corner, then another pitch up under his chin, and another one on the outside corner.
And there's the strikeout. There's the Rodney split changeup, 1 down. Well, it's been a good night for Carlos Gonzalez. A pair of doubles. He's knocked in 2 runs. He's scored a run. Daniel Descalso had perhaps the game's biggest hit, a 3-run pinch hit 2-out homer in the 7th inning. Milwaukee has already won. They beat Washington at Miller Park 1-0 behind Jimmy Nelson. So a Rockies loss would pull the Brewers within a game and a half of Colorado's second wild card spot. St. Louis 5 back at the start of play today, trailing at San Francisco right now 5-2. The Marlins were 6 off the pace. They lost at home to the Phillies 2-1. Three and 1. Lucroy on deck. He lost Cargo, a 1-out walk.
This is Lucroy's first career at bat against Fernando Rodney. Some of the Rockies have a little bit of experience against Fernando, not much.
Well, it's hard to issue bases on balls and survive in this ballpark. That was the Diamondbacks' 8th walk issued by their pitchers tonight, and they still lead at 9-5. I guess if you're going to walk 8 guys, you better score 9 runs.
Yeah. Only 2 of the 8 walks came around to score.
Both in that 3-run Colorado 7.
But it has created some scoring opportunities, and you know the Rockies have been struggling to swing the bats recently, especially with runners on base. You know that they're one good swing away from busting out of it, so you cannot do that the rest of this series.
High in the air, deep left field, Peralta just in front of the warning track. That's the 2nd out. And the batter is Trevor Story. Story had a 2-run double in that 3-run Colorado 7. He also knocked in a run with a sac fly. He's 1 for 3. Diamondbacks live post-game show coming up. That's brought to you by CenturyLink. It follows our ball game. Jody Jackson will have reaction from inside the D-backs clubhouse. You'll hear from the skipper, Torey Lovullo.
Clayton Kershaw back tonight for the Dodgers against the Padres. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, struck out 7, didn't walk a batter.
So he was really rusty is what you're saying. And they're going to get Alex Wood back on Sunday, the Dodgers. He's going to pitch against San Diego. High in the air center field. This should do it. A.J. Pollock's got it. And the Diamondbacks beat the Rockies 9-5. The D-backs have won 8 straight games for the first time in 6 years.
Just on a real nice roll right now. You can just tell by the atmosphere around the clubhouse, in the dugout, even the body language of the players on the field. These guys are feeling it right now, a lot like they did in the first half of the season.
And they have grabbed a 4.5 game lead over these Rockies for that first National League wild card spot and the right to host the NL wild card game October 4th. 77 wins now for a Diamondbacks team that is back to 19 games over 500. It was a typical Coors Field ball game here tonight, but they hang on and win it. 9 runs on 10 hits. The D-backs have won 8 straight. D-backs Live, presented by CenturyLink, is next on Fox Sports Arizona.